Chapter 2363, Universe City, 3, Ran Mo blinked before revealing his eye teeth. What? Lei Yan and the others turned away, shaking their heads quietly. Look at Xiao Yihan's formidable presence, and then at this silly kid. Why was there such a great disparity? Never mind. Our little Mo is still young. He still has time to grow up. Nangong Lai chuckled as if he was trying to assure himself. Ran Mo, stop calling me little Mo. Boss, your cultivation level is so high. Help us see what stage Xiao Yihan is at now. Lei Yan scurried over to Yi Qing's side. Divine Lord 4th Heaven Peak level. The brats all gasped. What the hell? What a beast. A teenager at the Divine Lord 4th Heaven Peak level. Was this guy a monster? We're doomed. I was still full of confidence for this inter-academy competition, but now, I feel very inferior. Lei Yan felt like he had endured a major bow. Yi Qingtang shook her head with a small smile. She was also not that optimistic about the Netherworld Academy's chances. The Netherworld Academy was a top school, but somehow, over the past few years, apart from that Grand Master Alchemist, they had not produced any truly elite practitioners. Although the standard of the Netherworld Academy students was all pretty good, the various academies had sent their best students for this competition. Faced with those exceptionally talented teenagers, Lei Yan and the others felt rather deflated. Even their strongest, Qin Feng and Ran Mo, lagged when compared to someone like Xiao Yihan. And who knew how many more freakishly talented youths like Xiao Yihan were there in the whole inter-academy competition? The Netherworld Academy's situation was not optimistic at all. Stop thinking about such pointless things. I will give you half a day to explore the city. From tomorrow onwards, you are all to stay in this building. You are not to run outside. Yi Qingtang instructed. Yes. The brats had been worried that Yi Qing would not allow them to explore the city. But he was now giving them a whole half-day to do so. They immediately perked up, and after setting down their luggage, they went out as a group. The other Netherworld Academy teenagers looked rather conflicted as they watched Lei Yan and the rest charge out of the North Hall in excitement. After coming here, they finally realized what the word elite meant. The genius freaks from the various academies had come in full force. They had been so confident while at the Netherworld Academy, but now in the North Hall, they were surrounded by Divine Lord stage practitioners. Their hearts felt very heavy. Even their own teachers were looking rather grave. But Lei Yan and the others appeared nonchalant. To think that they still had the mood to go explore the city. Yi Qing, is it really appropriate to let them out at this point in time? One of the other Netherworld Academy teachers asked. Rather than restricting them all the time, it is better to give them some freedom. Yi Qingtang had considered this matter very carefully. They could only do their best and leave the rest to fate. She had some initial plans but was not entirely sure of them yet. Moreover, she didn't want to see her brats looking all despondent. It would be a depressing sight. Putting down her luggage, Yi Qingtang was about to take a rest when Luo Sheng knocked on her door. Yi Qing, come with me. The vice president wants to see you. Wen Qi was looking for Yi Qing because of the inter-academy competition rules. The regulations would be announced to the various academies tonight. As Yi Qing was in charge of the team competition, Wen Qi wanted him to come along to listen to the announcement. Chapter 2364, Regulations, 1. Soon after, Yi Qingtang and Luo Sheng went over and found Wen Qi and the other Netherworld Academy teachers already standing at the entrance of the main hall. A middle-aged man was standing in front of them and they looked like they were chatting. Wen Qi had a rather strange expression. Although he had a smile on his face, the smile didn't reach his eyes. Vice President. Yi Qingtang and Luo Sheng walked over. When Qi saw Yi Qing and Luo Sheng come over, the smile became more genuine. The middle-aged man followed Wen Qi's gaze. His face was cold and imperious, and when he looked at Yi Qingtang, it was with eyes full of arrogance. All of the academies participating in the inter-academy competition were among the elite few. and teachers who could teach at such academies would naturally have very high cultivation levels. Yi Qingtang was just in her teens, and although she had changed her appearance, she still looked like in her early 20s. Standing amongst the teachers, she looked exceptionally youthful. The middle-aged man's eyes swept past Yi Qingtang impassively. Wen Qi, this is a teacher from the Netherworld Academy. The middle-aged man looked at Wen Qi. Wen Qi nodded. A strange expression appeared on the man's face. He said in a low voice, "This year's Inter-Academy competition means a lot to the Netherworld Academy. I thought President Wu would treat it more seriously." The meaning behind the man's words was very clear. He felt that Wu Fengling should not have sent such a young teacher. Yi Qing might be young, but he is very capable, Wen Qi stated. The man didn't respond to Wen Qi's statement. Everyone has more or less arrived, so I will head in first. We will catch up again if there is time in the future. The man turned and entered the main hall first. Wen Qi couldn't resist a sigh as he watched the man depart. His name is Zhang Yunzhou, and he used to be Vice President Wen Qi's disciple, Luo Xing told Yi Qingtang in a low voice. Yi Qingtang's eyes flashed. She was not familiar with that name. But Zhang Yunzhou had been wearing the uniform of the Cold Cloud Academy. So it seemed that he was a teacher from the Cold Cloud Academy. When Zhang Yunzhou entered the main hall, quite a number of people inside greeted him respectfully. He quickly walked over to the other teachers from the Cold Cloud Academy. You went to talk to your former master? One of the Cold Cloud Academy elders asked. He looked past Zhang Yunzhou to glance at Wen Qi impassively. Zhang Yunzhou, it has been a long time. The elder said in a mild tone, the Netherworld Academy is no longer what it used to be. For the past several Inter-Academy competitions, very few Netherworld Academy students managed to get a placing. In the previous competition, only one person from the medicine faculty managed to squeeze into the rankings. The Netherworld Academy is in a bad state. Zhang Yunzhou kept silent. The elder patted him on the shoulder. Your initial choice then was not wrong. If you had remained at the Netherworld Academy, it would just be a waste of your talent. If none of the Netherworld Academy students manage to get a place in this year's competition, they will be struck off the list of elite academies. In future, they would need to compete with the other normal academies first if they wish to join the Inter-Academy competition again. Like the Sky Martial Academy, the Cold Cloud Academy was an elite school and was granted instant access to the Inter-Academy competition. Meanwhile, there were many other mainlands near the Heaven mainland with countless academies located on them. Chapter 2365, Regulations, 2, but not every academy was good enough to participate in the Inter-Academy competition. They had to undergo a round of qualifying competitions first, and only the top few winners would earn the right to come to Universe City and participate in the real Inter-Academy competition. In the past, the Netherworld Academy did not need to undergo the qualifying competition, but now, the Netherworld Academy was not like it used to be. According to the regulations, if they could not produce good results in this year's competition, they would lose that privilege. As the elder spoke, Wen Qi had already led Yi Qing and the others into the main hall. But their arrival did not attract the attention of the other academies. It was like no one could be bothered about them at all. This was an academy that was about to lose its privilege to automatically qualify for the Inter-Academy competitions, and so the other academies completely dismissed them. They were more focused on this year's competition regulations and their true rivals. Wen Qi was used to their dismissive attitudes. He led Yi Qing and the others to a corner and sat down. Yi Qing, do you know why so many academies fight so hard to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition? Wen Qi suddenly asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang shook her head. She had never enrolled in an academy in the second domain during her previous life, so it was only natural she had no idea. It's because of the God relic, Wen Qi said in a low voice. Yi Qingtang's eyes glinted. God relic? Wen Qi nodded. Where the Universe City is standing now, it used to be the biggest and most magnificent temple. It was constructed on this spot because a god left behind a relic here. It is similar to a mystic realm, yet also completely different. The god relic cannot usually be found. It will only open during a special period and only a limited number of people will be allowed inside. The Universe City was where the God Relic was hidden. Nearly everyone in the second domain had tried to fight over the God Relic, but thereafter, they realized that it was only effective for youths who had yet to reach the age of 20. Many powerful practitioners were extremely frustrated over this. But the major family clans, academies and sects were inspired. There were 5 separate entrances to the God Relic. And every entrance only allowed a certain number of entrants. To reduce the endless conflicts, the various factions had come to an agreement. Factions would be assigned to a particular entrance and they could then fight over that allocated entrance. The entrance situated at the Universe City had been allocated to the various academies, and they fought over the right to the entrance via a very simple method. The Inter-Academy competition, where the most talented teenagers would gain the chance to enter. This was why the various academies invested so much effort just to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition. Only 100 people are allowed to enter the entrance located at the Universe City. In the past, our academy once managed to send over a dozen students into the God Relic. But Yiqing, do you know how many students of ours managed to win the privilege in the last competition? Wen Qi asked. Yiqing Tang shook her head. A bitter look surfaced on Wen Qi's face. He lifted a single finger. One, only one. Yiqing Tang couldn't resist an inward sigh after hearing this. Unless the Netherworld Academy manages to have at least 3 students win that privilege, our academy will be struck off the priority list. We will need to undergo a qualifying competition with the other normal academies first and win them before being able to participate in the Inter-Academy competition. Wen Qi's voice was very grave. The Netherworld Academy's situation was not optimistic at all. Chapter 2366, Regulations, 3, Realization dawned upon Yiqing Tang. No wonder she found the atmosphere somewhat strange. The others in this hall all looked down upon the Netherworld Academy. From his position beside her, Wen Qi gradually explained the true circumstances of the Inter-Academy competition. In all honesty, he felt rather conflicted as he looked at Yiqing. It was clear that he already admired Yiqing when he first heard of the youth's unique understanding of martial arts. Yiqing had only brought him even more major surprises. It was such a pity, Wen Qi couldn't help giving an inward sigh. Yiqing was still too young and had only spent a short time at the Netherworld Academy. If he could remain at the Netherworld Academy for a decade, with his understanding of martial arts and alchemy skills, he might be able to inject fresh blood into the academy. Such a pity, Wen Qi knew that Wu Fengling let Yiqing come to the Inter-Academy competition because he already had thoughts of giving up on this year's competition. Wen Qi himself harbored the same thoughts. Although Ran Mo and Qin Feng were pretty good, it was still not good enough to rise above the competition in Universe City. So he had allowed Yiqing to participate this time just to let him have a better understanding of the Inter-Academy competition, and to groom him for the future, in hopes that he could produce more talented students for the next competition. Even if they had to start all over again, at least they would have a chance. But Wen Qi would never reveal this point to anyone. He could not batter the confidence of the teachers and students right before the competition. Very soon, the elders in charge of the Inter-Academy competition arrived and explained to everyone the changes in the rules. Actually, there weren't many changes. The one-on-one competitions for martial arts and alchemy remained unchanged. They would still choose the top 10. The only change was to the team competition. For this team competition, we will have 10 participants in a group, to be led by a teacher. President Wu's information was indeed accurate. There are substantial changes to the team competition. 10 to a team and only the top team will be chosen. TSK, so sad. Luo Xing frowned slightly. The team competition was the main event of the Inter-Academy competition. If victorious, they could win 10 spots all at once. There was no better way. However, the competition was also more intense. The various academies would definitely send out all their top elites. But in the end, only one team would win. The Cold Cloud Academy elder who was talking to Zhang Yunzhou earlier spoke up. Where is the location of this year's competition? In the previous Inter-Academy competition, there was also a team competition, but the top 3 teams had been chosen. In contrast, for this year, only the top team would earn a spot. Moreover, they allowed a teacher to lead the team. This was a major change. To allow a teacher to directly participate in a competition, it would definitely be no simple trial. The elder replied, "The location will be the Wailing Well." Everyone's faces changed at his words. The Wailing Well? Isn't that place surrounded by an evil aura, such that no one is able to enter? Someone asked in a puzzled tone. The elder nodded. Several months ago, the Wailing Well's evil aura was dispelled. The crowd exchanged looks, grave expressions mirrored across all their faces. Vice President, the Wailing Well you are referring to is the one situated in the evil marsh in the outskirts of Universe City? One of the teachers asked in a low voice. Wen-Chi nodded. Chapter 2367, Regulations, 4. The evil marsh used to be a blessed land. But after the temple was destroyed, it was gradually engulfed by the evil aura, and the Wailing Well is situated right inside the marsh. Since then, no one has been able to enter. To think that the Inter-Academy competition this year would be held in the Wailing Well, where no one had ever entered. This was a major shock to many academies. Who knew what would happen in that godforsaken place? No one has ever entered there before. Why has that location been chosen for this year's competition? Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed slightly. Logically, this kind of place was not suitable for young, inexperienced students. Just as Yi Qingtang was filled with queries, the elder continued. Everyone, please don't worry. The Wailing Well is dangerous, but we have already sent our people inside before. It is not as dangerous as you might think. Moreover, we will give every single team a teleportation talisman, which will be kept by the teacher in charge. Any time a team meets with danger, they can choose to back out. You just need to crush the talisman and you will be able to leave safely. But if that were to happen, the team then would lose their right to. The crowd's expressions remained grim as the elder continued his explanation. The Wailing Well was an unknown place to everyone at present. They had no idea what it was like inside and were completely unable to prepare for anything. I wonder what the criteria are for a team to win. One of the teachers asked. The elder replied, the winner will be the team that manages to remain inside the Wailing Well for 10 days and kills the greatest number of demons. Demons, the elder's words revealed a hint of information. Remaining for 10 days inside the well was not too big of a worry for the various academies. What they were really concerned about was what kind of demons were inside that well. In addition, everyone who enters the well is not allowed to bring any elixirs or special artifacts. Apart from the personal weapon you are carrying now, you are not allowed to bring anything else inside. The crowd was in an uproar. They could not bring anything. What about food and talismans? Someone asked. The elder shook his head. The crowd finally understood the crux of this competition. Food, water, artifacts, elixirs, they could not bring any of those things in. Apart from the weapons they already had on their bodies, as well as the teleportation talisman, they could not bring anything that could enhance their battle prowess. On top of that, they would have to stay for 10 days inside the unknown environment of the Wailing Well and kill as many demons as they could. The unknown environment and special restrictions made this team competition especially strange and mysterious. Previously, some academies had planned to choose 10 martial arts students and give up a spot on the alchemy list. But now, they really had to bring one medicine faculty student. After all, so many things could happen in 10 days. No one could be sure what kind of dangers they would be in without any elixirs. A team had to have at least one medicine faculty student. Are there any herbs inside the Wailing Well? Someone asked anxiously. Without any herbs, there was no need to even think about refining elixirs. Of course, the elder replied. The crowd remained silent. The team competition will be held after all the other competitions, so everyone still has time to prepare. Each academy is allowed to send 5 teams. The elder continued to lay out the rules. Meanwhile, Yu Qingtang listened quietly, taking note of all possible clues. Chapter 2368, Chess, 1. Meanwhile, with the permission of Yu Qing, Lei Yan and the rest had already scurried over to the streets of Universe City. Apart from Mu Ziying, who was staying in another dormitory, the entire gang was there, even Jing Zhe and Qin Feng had been dragged along. The bunch of brats lolled around Universe City for the entire morning. Lei Yan bought so many things that his space ring was nearly bursting. At this moment, Nangong Lai and the others finally realized just how rich young Master Lei Yan was. I didn't expect the Lei Tang family to be so rich, Nangong Lai spoke ruefully as he watched Lei Yan's spendthrift ways with longing. They were both disciples from major family clans, but he had to be so much thriftier. What do you know? My father is very generous towards me as compensation. Previously, the elders in my family clan would only scoff at my weak foundation and never allowed me to put even a single foot out the door, unless it was for training. And at the academy, there was no place to spend money. This is all part of my own savings. Lei Yan was feeling very satisfied with his shopping spree. He had held on to so much money for so long. It was so frustrating to have all that money and nowhere to spend it. Lei Yan paused. Perhaps he finally noticed the incredulous looks on the faces of his friends. He cleared his throat. Don't misunderstand, these items are not just playthings. We are going for that team competition, right? I am just preparing for that. We might have use for these items then. Everyone was surprised by Lei Yan's words. Brother, I didn't know you were so forward-looking. Hang Wenwei patted Lei Yan on the shoulder. Of course, our boss is leading the team after all. I cannot screw up. Lei Yan looked very smug. Nangong Lai threw an arm around his shoulder. I say, brother, we are friends who have been through thick and thin together. Don't forget to share your goodies with me. Get lost. You don't want to buy these yourself and am trying to leverage off me? Dream on. Lei Yan shrugged off his arm in disdain. Don't be like that. I'm broke. None of my business. Get lost. The teenagers continued messing around as they returned to the North Hall. Nangong Lai was still trying his best to weasel something out of Lei Yan, but soon enough, a group of people inside the compound attracted their attention. What are they doing? Ran Mo looked at the small crowd of teenagers. Those teenagers were wearing different uniforms from the various academies, but they had all gathered together. A low murmuring could be heard. It looked rather interesting. Let's go and take a look. Lei Yan immediately piped up. They were all energetic youths and at the age where they were filled with curiosity. The teenagers squeezed their way in. In the middle of the crowd was a massive stone table. A chessboard was placed on top of it. Two teenagers from two different academies were playing against each other. The pieces on the board looked different from the usual chess pieces and were in the shape of various beasts. Illusion Beast Chess. Lei Yan's eyes lit up. Illusion Beast Chess was the favorite chess game of the second domain. It was rumored that it was derived from Sea Soul Chess. Few people had seen the real Sea Soul Chess, but this didn't stop people from spreading this rumor. But actually, Illusion Beast Chess and Sea Soul Chess were completely different. There were all sorts of strange strategies and each player had a Beast King. The player who managed to take the other's Beast King would be the victor. Chapter 2369, Chess, 2. When Lei Yan was confined to the Lei Tang family compound, his only joy was making the other family clan youths play Illusion Beast Chess with him. Soon enough, one of the players lost with a loud sigh. His face was grim as he tossed a small, intricate jade pendant over to his opponent. The winner kept the jade pendant with a smile and scanned the crowd. Who's next? No one answered. Lei Yan's heart itched. Let me try. He then sat down promptly. The crowd looked at Lei Yan, who had settled into the seat. Their eyes fell on his Netherworld Academy uniform and a strange expression crossed their faces. The winner couldn't resist smirking when he saw Lei Yan sitting opposite him. Buddy, which academy are you from? Lei Yan was puzzled. Wasn't his uniform clear enough? I am from the Netherworld Academy. What's the matter? The winner chuckled. He leaned back a little. You want to play? That's right. Lei Yan answered. The winner looked at Lei Yan with amusement. Sorry, I am afraid you can't. Lei Yan was taken aback. The person continued. We have rules regarding our illusion beast chess games. If you wish to play, you need to offer the appropriate stakes. Lei Yan listened. Stakes? He immediately took out all his new purchases from his space ring. Which item do you want? Choose yourself. Lei Yan spoke magnanimously. But the teenagers from the other academies sniggered at his words. They sounded like they were laughing at a fool. The person sitting opposite Lei Yan also laughed. These lousy items of yours are not fit to use as stakes in this game. With that, he drew out the jade pendant he had won and waved it in front of Lei Yan. Do you know what this is? Lei Yan was unfamiliar with the pendant, but Ran Mo's face shifted. He uncharacteristically charged forward and pulled Lei Yan to his feet. Let's go. The person couldn't resist smiling as he watched Lei Yan being dragged off by Ran Mo. Crossing his arms over his chest, he leaned back slightly and lifted his chin as he gazed at Lei Yan and the others. Your friend is right. It's better that you leave. There are some stakes which are too high for your Netherworld Academy. Playing chess in Universe City is not something people like you can afford. The person's words were extremely harsh. The faces of Qin Feng and the others darkened. Rules were rules. If Lei Yan didn't know of them, he could have just explained, but this person was full of scorn and ridicule. It was clear that he was trampling upon the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. Ran Mo, who was dragging Lei Yan away, suddenly halted as he heard those insulting comments. For the first time, a sliver of displeasure flashed across that babyish face. Spinning around suddenly, he turned and took out something from his space ring. In front of the scornful eyes of the crowd, he slapped the item into the stone table. It was a small jade pendant, exactly the same as what the winner had. Little Mo, you also have this item? Lei Yan didn't expect Ran Mo to also have this jade pendant. The person narrowed his eyes at Ran Mo's jade pendant. He sized up this exceptionally harmless-looking teenager. You are Wu Fengling's disciple. Chapter 2370, Chess, 3, yes, Ran Mo replied. The person gave a sudden laugh. He picked up Ran Mo's jade pendant and examined it casually. TSK. I knew it. Who else in the Netherworld Academy can get something like this? So you are Wu Fengling's famed disciple. No wonder. After all, President Wu would only give something like this to his own disciple. Lei Yan and the others realized that this jade pendant was no ordinary item. Little Mo, what is this jade pendant? Lei Yan asked. Ran Mo didn't answer his question but only stared back at the arrogant guy. We have the appropriate stakes now. Are we playing? Of course. As long as you can bear to lose it, I welcome you. The person smiled with a shrug. Ran Mo dragged Lei Yan over to the table. Lei Yan felt rather panicked. What is that jade pendant? Little Mo, I don't want to play anymore. It was just a spur of the moment. Let's not play. Lei Yan didn't manage to finish his sentence. Ran Mo interrupted him with a serious look on his face. You need to play. Lei Yan was stunned. What was going on? Ran Mo, forget it. Qin Feng's brows were furrowed slightly. He had no idea what that jade pendant was, but it must definitely be very important. And Wu Fengling himself had given it to Ran Mo. Observing the situation, the person tossed Ran Mo back his pendant with a smirk. Yes, I think we should just forget it. The Netherworld Academy probably only has one of these, so you'd better keep a hold on it properly. After all, you guys are different from the rest of us. This item must be extremely rare and precious to you. You guys cannot afford to lose it. Seeing that the situation was not quite right, Qin Feng instinctively wanted to lead Ran Mo away. But Ran Mo spoke coldly to the person, his face more stern than ever before. Cannot afford it. I insist on playing today. With that, Ran Mo sat down himself. Lei Yan and the others exchanged looks. But they also understood Ran Mo. This person was openly degrading the Netherworld Academy. Ran Mo was being stubborn only because he was trying to protect the dignity of the Netherworld Academy. As Wu Fengling's disciple, the Academy's reputation was naturally more important to him than to anyone else. The crowd observed Ran Mo's insistence. They all started to relish the fact that they were about to enjoy a good show. Ran Mo knew how to play illusion beast chess. Wu Fengling himself had personally taught him. Let's begin, said Ran Mo. A smile played at the corners of the person's lips. He also took out a jade pendant and placed it on the table. With that, the chess match officially began. Lei Yan and the others watched on nervously. But Lei Yan's eyes suddenly brightened after Ran Mo made his move. Little Mo's illusion beast chess is pretty good. Lei Yan always believed that his illusion beast chess skills were rather good. But after watching Ran Mo's moves, he realized that Ran Mo's chess skills were far beyond his. His anxiety lessened. Ran Mo's moves were cautious while his opponent was playing willfully. But a major change soon occurred on the chessboard. After just a few rounds, Ran Mo's chess pieces dwindled until he was only left with his beast king. Standing all alone on the board, surrounded by his opponent's pieces which were eyeing it hungrily. Ran Mo took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He had lost. After winning, the person picked up Ran Mo's jade pendant and casually played with it. Thanks. Ran Mo stood up without a word as Lei Yan and the others hurried forward. The person chuckled. You guys probably still don't know what this thing is, right? Chapter 2371, Let Me Play. 1. The other student paused before continuing. This is called Spirit Jade. It is the license to enter the God Relic. The various academies compete in every inter-academy competition just for the right to enter the God Relic. If I remember correctly, the Netherworld Academy only won one placement in the previous inter-academy competition. What a pity that this placement is now in my hands. The opening of the God Relic was fixed at a certain time and only a predetermined number of people could enter. But a person could only remain inside the God Relic for 1 day before being required to leave. Meanwhile, the God Relic would remain open for several days. The more jade pendants they had, the more chances they would get to re-enter the God Relic and train. Universe City's Illusion Beast Chess was a betting arena for students who had the jade pendant. The stakes were the number of times one could enter the God Relic. Lei Yan and the others were completely stunned. They knew this jade pendant was no ordinary item but didn't expect it to be that precious. They all turned to look at Ran Mo. Ran Mo didn't look defeated or distressed at all. His face was utterly calm. Let's go. Ran Mo suddenly smiled. The hearts of Lei Yan and the others twisted the moment they saw those little eye teeth of his. This is all my fault. Little Mo, Lei Yan just wanted to slap himself. If not for his curiosity, they wouldn't have incurred so much trouble. Ran Mo didn't blame Lei Yan at all. The various academies all looked down on the Netherworld Academy. He had done what he did to protect the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. While they may have fallen in the rankings, they must still uphold their dignity. Ran Mo was prepared to leave. Lei Yan gritted his teeth and looked at the smug winner. Apart from the jade pendant, do you accept any other stakes? You can have anything you want, I will play against you. Ran Mo was taken aback. Qin Feng and the others also spoke up. Elixirs, artifacts. Anything we have in our possession, you can ask for it. Amusement glinted in the eyes of the person as he observed the gang. No problem. I can give you guys a chance. As long as you can offer up enough items. It was already dark when Yiqing Tang and Wen Qi returned to the North Hall. Wen Qi and the others returned to their rooms while Yiqing Tang decided to check on her brats. Scanning the place, she could not see any one of them apart from Mu Ziying. Yi Qingtang felt a slight headache coming along. She allowed them to go out and relax a bit. But weren't T pushing it? Exasperated, she went looking for Lei Yan and the others with Mu Ziying in tow. "Hey, did you hear? Something exciting is going on in the back," a teenager told his companion in an excited voice as he walked past Yi Qingtang. "Are you talking about those fools from the Netherworld Academy? I saw it. Those fools have no idea what they are in for. To think that they even dare to play chess against Xing Rong, who doesn't know that Xing Rong is renowned for his illusion beast chess skills. He has never been defeated before. But they dared to challenge him, what else can they do? They already lost their spirit jade. They are just trying to win back the Netherworld Academy's only spirit jade. I think they must have already lost nearly every elixir and artifact on them." Yi Qingtang had not taken the teenager's words to heart at first, but she suddenly paused after hearing the words, Netherworld Academy, and Spirit Jade. Chapter 2372, Let Me Play, 2. On their way back, when she had told her about the Spirit Jade and how the Netherworld Academy only won one in the previous competition. The winner had been a medicine faculty student, and the Spirit Jade was placed in Wu Fengling's care. Not long after, the medicine faculty student died in an accident and the jade was passed on to the Netherworld Academy student with the most potential, Ran Mo, the Netherworld Academy and the Spirit Jade. It had to be Ran Mo. After overhearing those teenagers, Yi Qingtang instantly felt that something very bad must have happened. Wasting no time, she immediately hurried over with Mu Ziying. In the backyard, Lei Yan and the rest were looking extremely grim. After several rounds, Lei Yan's space ring was completely empty. Nangong Lai, Hang Wenwei and the others had also lost everything. "My friends, I am truly very happy today. You guys have given me so many presents. How can I ever thank you?" Xing Rong was grinning victoriously as he gazed at the wretched faces of those few. "Now, you don't have anything more to bet on, right? You would probably have to stake your lives now if you continue betting." Lei Yan and the others were trembling with rage, but they were helpless. Their skills were really not up to par. Not only did they fail to win the Spirit Jade back, but they had also lost everything. "Since you don't have any more resources, shouldn't you get lost?" Xing Rong's face changed as he commanded coldly. "Who said we have nothing left? Didn't you mention staking our lives? I will bet with you using my life." Lei Yan was consumed with anger. "Forget it. Your life is worthless to me. Do you have anything left? If you do, I will continue playing with you. If not, please don't stand there taking up space." "Get lost," Xing Rong said. "You." Lei Yan's face was grim to the extreme. Xing Rong's illusion beast chess was just too good. They were no match for him at all. "Can I play?" A familiar voice drifted over. The voice was like a clear spring, instantly soothing the fretful hearts of those brats. Lei Yan and the others immediately turned to see Yi Qing with Mu Ziying beside him. When had he appeared behind them? "Boss," Lei Yan was nearly crying now. Xing Rong and the crowd of teenagers also shifted their gaze, only to see a mediocre-looking, skinny, frail youth in his 20s. But he was wearing the Netherworld Academy uniform for teachers. A Netherworld Academy teacher? This is getting interesting. Xing Rong did not think much of Yi Qingtang. The Netherworld Academy had fallen. There was no difference between their students and their teachers. "What, this teacher wishes to play?" Xing Rong smiled. Yi Qingtang didn't waste any words but just sat down. "Boss, don't play with him. This fellow's illusion beast chess is really very formidable." Lei Yan and the others were panicking. Earlier, they had lost so badly that they had lost their cool and thrown all reason out the window. Having been so utterly defeated, how could they drag Yi Qing down into the mud with them? Yi Qingtang shot them a steady look to calm down before turning back to Xing Rong. "What are the rules?" "It's very simple. We only play for spirit jades. Your side has already lost the only spirit jade owned by the Netherworld Academy, but I'm an easygoing guy. As long as you can offer me something interesting, I guess I can bend the rules for you. Xing Rong spoke magnanimously, but his attitude was dripping with arrogance. Chapter 2373, Let Me Play, 3. It was clear that Xing Rong had never imagined himself losing. No matter what the other party bet on, he would win. Boss, Nangong Lai was feeling very anxious. He was deeply worried that Yi Qing would take out some precious treasure and lose it to Xing Rong. They would just be widening their losses then. In response, Yi Qing Tang silently took out an elixir bottle from her space ring and placed it on the table. Xing Rong smirked at the bottle. Teacher, your students have already given me plenty of elixirs. I don't think that this 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, Yi Qing Tang stated. Everyone at present was stunned. What did you say? The smile on Xing Rong's face was fading. There is one 9 Melody Spirit Elixir inside. Premium quality. If you don't believe me, you can get anyone you want to verify it. Yi Qing Tang's face was calm. 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Premium quality. The crowd gasped. The 9 Melody Spirit Elixir was a Grand Master level elixir. They had never even seen this type of elixir before. The various factions would fight tooth and nail over a single pill. But now, this person said this bottle contained a 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Was he joking? A genuine Grand Master level elixir could be thrown around like common dirt. Teacher, are you joking? Xing Rong suddenly felt that this Netherworld Academy teacher might be an insane person. I said that you can get anyone you want to verify it, Yi Qing Tang repeated. Seeing Yi Qing Tang so confident, Xing Rong couldn't help recalling that the Netherworld Academy had once produced that Grand Master alchemist. So it was not that far-fetched for the Netherworld Academy to have Grand Master level elixirs. But just in case, Xing Rong immediately summoned a few medicine faculty students from his academy over. After their examination, they verified that the bottle did contain a 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. And a premium quality one at that. Xing Rong's blood surged. He had been happy enough just toying with those Netherworld Academy fools and winning some inconsequential items. He never expected to snag such a wonderful prize. The 9 Melody Spirit Elixir was a truly priceless treasure. All right. I will accept this bet. Worried that Yi Qing Tang might have second thoughts, Xing Rong immediately accepted. The Netherworld Academy students were foolish, and their teacher was even more so. A Grand Master level elixir of this grade, they could have just used it to directly exchange for a spirit jade. Xing Rong was secretly smug. He instinctively glanced up to enjoy the desperate expressions on Lei Yan and his gang. But Xing Rong was shocked by what he saw. Their anxious faces relaxed after seeing Yi Qing take out that 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Were those guys right in the head? Didn't they know how valuable this Grand Master level elixir was? How could they possibly not know? But I was nearly scared to death. I was so worried about what boss was going to bet on. Luckily, it's just some elixir. Lei Yan heaved a sigh of relief as he patted his chest. Yun Chen also relaxed. Luckily, just an elixir. Xing Rong, what a bunch of idiots. Just an elixir. This was a Grand Master level elixir. Those guys had mush for brains. Xing Rong felt that all Netherworld Academy people were truly not right in the head. He didn't know that if Yi Qing had taken out any other item, the hearts of Lei Yan and the others would ache dearly for him. But elixirs. If there was one thing in the world which their boss had in abundance, it was elixirs. Grand Master level elixirs. They ate them like candy. Were they very rare? Chapter 2374, Toying with Someone, 1. Yi Qing Tang felt her head ache a little as she looked at her foolish brats. She shifted her gaze and looked at Xing Rong. And what are you offering? Xing Rong snapped out of his trance and put on a calm act. Your students played 5 rounds with me, and these are all the items they have lost to me. I will bet with the items they lost to me during the last round. Yi Qing Tang nodded. Can we start now? Xing Rong nodded. He was very eager to win the 9-melody spirit elixir. Without further ado, the game of chess started. The teenagers from the various academies had heard about the 9-melody spirit elixir, and the surrounding crowd of spectators grew. Everyone was waiting eagerly for a good show. Xing Rong wanted that 9-melody spirit elixir, but he was in no hurry to immediately defeat Yi Qingtang. This teacher was able to offer a precious item like the 9-melody spirit elixir. He might have other valuable treasures. Xing Rong purposely slowed down the intensity of his attacks, trying to pretend that his skills were nearly on par with him, before delivering the final fatal blow. This was to make him believe that he had lost by just one move and instigate him to play again. Everything was going according to Xing Rong's plan. He predicted Yi Qing's every move and gave the impression of just managing to avoid being defeated while secretly controlling the entire match. Many spectators already saw through Xing Rong's intentions and couldn't help but give an inward sigh. This teacher was falling into his trap. The chess match progressed and the number of pieces on the board dwindled. Apart from their beast kings, both parties only had a couple of pieces left. Xing Rong saw that the moment had come and was prepared to make his killer move. But just as Xing Rong was confidently preparing his attack to end this game, Yi Qingtang's next move was to take his beast king. Xing Rong was in a daze as he watched his beast king get swept off the board. The barely concealed amusement in his eyes was completely dispelled in an instant. What the hell happened? How did he lose? He had already calculated all of Yi Qingtang's moves. How did he make a mistake? Every single one of Yi Qingtang's moves was accurately logged in Xing Rong's brain. There was nothing exceptional there. How did the ending differ so greatly from what he predicted? The spectators were all stunned. They had watched so many of Xing Rong's matches, and this was the first time he had lost. And from what they had observed, Yi Qingtang had clearly fallen into Xing Rong's trap. I won. Yi Qingtang's tone was mild. Xing Rong's face darkened. He must have miscalculated somewhere. Yi Qingtang had beaten him by one move. He must have been too careless. These are the items which I have lost. Teacher, please take them. Xing Rong composed himself and put on a nonchalant face. Yi Qingtang lifted her chin slightly, signaling for Lei Yan to gather up the items. Xing Rong narrowed his eyes. The 9-melody spirit elixir was still there before his eyes. He would never let go of this chance. Moreover, he had just been careless earlier. He would not give the foolish teacher another chance. Teacher, I still have quite a number of the items which your disciples lost. Do you plan to win them all back? Xing Rong smiled. Of course, Yi Qingtang said indifferently. A hint of a smile flashed across Xing Rong's eyes. Let us continue then. Yi Qingtang nodded. The chess match started again. The surrounding teenagers were engrossed. Xing Rong was a high-level illusion beast chess player, but this Netherworld Academy teacher was no pushover. It was a close battle and the spectators watched with excitement coursing through their veins. Chapter 2375, Toying with Someone, 2, but somehow, every time there were only a few pieces left on the board, Xing Rong would suddenly make a misstep and end up being swept clean by Yi Qingtang. She won by a thread every single time, but Xing Rong was gradually sinking into a loser's rut. In just a short period of time, Xing Rong had lost 5 consecutive rounds. Not only did he fail to win the 9-melody spirit elixir, but he had also lost all the items previously won. After placing the newly won spirit jade back in Ran Mo's hands, Yi Qingtang prepared to leave. But Xing Rong, whose eyes were bloodshot with defeat, suddenly stood up. Please wait. Yi Qingtang paused. Xing Rong put on a calm smile. Teacher, you have only just won back all the items lost by your students. The real match starts now. I wonder if you are interested to continue. Yi Qingtang's expression was mild. She looked completely indifferent to Xing Rong's proposal. I have no interest in your items. Xing Rong took a deep breath. I have 2 spirit jades. I want to play one final match against you. If I win, I want the 9 melody spirit elixir. If I lose, I will give you these 2 spirit jades. Yi Qingtang pondered over it before reluctantly sitting down. Sure. Xing Rong took a deep breath. With that final round, he had already thoroughly analyzed Yi Qingtang's chess play. Yi Qingtang would lose this match for sure. 1 9 melody spirit elixir might be able to exchange for 1 spirit jade. But 2 spirit jades would be a major loss for him. Xing Rong was confident that he had already seen through all of Yi Qingtang's moves. He would not lose again. Yi Qingtang's chess play was very convoluted and one could be easily tricked if not careful. But now, he had already seen through it all. He would not lose again. Xing Rong was full of confidence. He was prepared to defeat Yi Qingtang in a single move. But this time, the moment the match started, Xing Rong fell into major despair. It wasn't the same. In fact, it was completely different. Yi Qingtang's chess play had totally changed. His previous gameplay was full of genial twists and turns, but now, his every move was like a ferocious beast who had just risen from its slumber. Every step was filled with intense aggression. In the blink of an eye, Xing Rong's chess pieces were all swept off the board. Meanwhile, every single one of Yi Qingtang's chess pieces was still standing. Seeing his beast king surrounded, realization suddenly dawned upon Xing Rong. To kill someone, you must target his goals and intentions. It was clear that this teacher had just been baiting him in the first 5 rounds. Those were not his true chess skills. Xing Rong thought very highly of his chess abilities. He had made use of his own baiting technique to toy with countless opponents. They thought the disparity in skill was not that great, but it was in fact thousands of miles wide. Today, he had planned to use the same technique against Yi Qingtang, but he never expected. He was the one who ended up being played by Yi Qingtang. Even more terrifying was the fact that he had only realized the truth at this final moment. Xing Rong's arrogance and confidence in illusion beast chess had now been utterly destroyed. His face was pale and he looked like a sad, defeated rooster. Sitting deflated in his chair, he was left staring forlornly at his defeat. When his beast king was swept off the board, Xing Rong's hand started trembling uncontrollably. He stared on blankly as Yi Qingtang took his 2 spirit jades. Meanwhile, he had not even managed to even lay a finger on the 9 melody spirit elixir. Chapter 2376, Desperate from his losses. 1. The spectators were all silent now. No one expected such a shocking and unexpected outcome. To think that Xing Rong had lost 5 consecutive rounds. In reality, the spectators had already seen through Yi Qingtang's baiting technique right from the start. But Xing Rong had been too focused on the game to realize it at all. It was a universal truth that a bystander could always see the overall situation more clearly than a party within the situation. Boss. Why is your illusion beast chess so formidable? Lei Yan was gazing adoringly at Yi Qing. Does one know the meaning of formidable? This was exactly what formidable looked like. Their boss was skilled at martial arts, elixir refinement, and even chess play. Apart from bearing children, there was probably nothing in this world their boss couldn't do. Lei Yan was full of pep and enthusiasm now. He no longer bore the wretched manner of someone who lost consecutive rounds. Qin Feng and the others were also full of smiles. This youth who looked weaker than most of them was like a pillar of strength. No matter where and when, nothing could shake him. Yi Qingtang glanced at Lei Yan. She couldn't help feeling speechless. This kid was able to recover from a defeat so easily. There were no hidden motives or intentions. It was a good thing, she mused. Yi Qingtang had learned illusion beast chess in the 2nd domain during her previous life, but she had come into contact with this game under different circumstances from Lei Yan and the others. Yi Qingtang did not learn illusion beast chess in the usual manner of family clans, academies, or sections. She had learned it in the kind of shady place where all sorts of dubious characters mixed and mingled. Betting on chess matches was quite common in the 2nd domain. In Universe City, the stakes were spirit jades. In the places where Yi Qingtang played, the stakes were your life. Chess skills trained from games where the stakes were life and death were naturally not something which these spoilt brats could match up to. Boss, you truly have unfathomable depths. If I had known your illusion beast chess was so good, I would have begged you to teach me a couple of moves. I might have been able to defeat that little punk then, Lei Yan exclaimed excitedly. He had always loved chess, and now that he knew of Yi Qing's chess standards, he naturally wanted to learn from him. Boss, what other kinds of chess do you know? Teach us. Yi Qingtang looked at the naive Lei Yan. At the mention of chess, she couldn't help thinking of that day in the Temple of Paragon when she played that game of Sea Soul chess with the Sea King. After that incident, Yi Qingtang really didn't wish to see any chess pieces at all. Although she had won by a stroke of luck, the tremendous stress when facing off the Sea King was still fresh in her mind. She would be able to leave in peace after this group of brats got through the Inter-Academy competition. Just as Yi Qingtang, Lei Yan, and the rest were preparing to leave, a glum-faced Xing Rong suddenly stood up and violently flipped over the chessboard on the stone table. Stay right where you are. Xing Rong's eyes were malevolent as he thundered out in a cold voice. Lei Yan and his group paused. They frowned when they saw Xing Rong's dark expression. What? Is someone a sore loser? Nangong Lai sneered. Xing Rong had been so arrogant when he was winning. As many rounds as the rest of them had lost, they had never gone back on their bets. The vein on Xing Rong's forehead was popping out. His eyes were filled with venom as he glared at Yi Qingtang. A Netherworld Academy teacher leading her students to flout the rules of Universe City. Do you think you can leave just like that? Lei Yan and his gang were completely stunned by Xing Rong's accusation. Xing Rong, what other tricks do you have up your sleeves? Who flouted the rules? Nangong Lai furrowed his brows. Chapter 2377, Desperate from his losses, 2, Xing Rong quietly took a deep breath. His face was very dark and malevolent. The thought of losing had never crossed his mind. All he knew now was that he could not afford to lose his spirit jades. How could he let those Netherworld Academy folks take away his spirit jades? Xing Rong composed himself and put up a calm front. What? Don't you know the rules of the Inter-Academy competition? Lei Yan and the others frowned. This was their first time here and had no idea of the rules. Xing Rong narrowed his eyes before smiling. Inside Universe City, chess gambling is tolerated between students, but academy teachers, wardens and other such personnel are not allowed to participate. If I tell those in charge of the Inter-Academy competition about this teacher participating in chess gambling, he will probably be kicked out of Universe City. Xing Rong was speaking the truth. The various academies turned a blind eye toward those chess matches between students with spirit jades. After all, everyone wished their own students would win more spirit jades. But apart from students, no one else was allowed to participate. However, rules were rigid, while people were flexible. In reality, quite a number of teachers also took part in chess gambling in Universe City. As long as both parties came to an agreement, everyone would turn a blind eye. No one would be foolish enough to report a match which both parties agreed to. But now, Xing Rong was going to be the first person to tattle. The spectators realized that Xing Rong must be desperate from his losses. Those teenagers who used to respect Xing Rong now started to look at him with disdain. It was clear that Xing Rong had agreed to the match. Now that he had lost so terribly, he was suddenly going back on his word. But as disgusted as the crowd was, no one wanted to get involved in this messy situation. Xing Rong, you are purposely trying to stir up trouble, right? Why didn't you say so earlier if you knew of this rule? Hang Wenwei retorted with a frown. He couldn't stand this anymore. Xing Rong was clearly a sore loser. After seeing Yi Qingtang take out the Grand Master level elixir, he had immediately assented. But now that he had lost, he was dragging out rules to hinder them. Xing Rong knew how the crowd was looking at him now. But he did not care anymore. He sneered. Rules are rules. If you don't wish to have your teacher kicked out of Universe City and miss out on the competition, hand over my 2 spirit jades. I can see that you are very close to him. I guess that he is the teacher who will lead your team in the team competition. If he is kicked out of Universe City at this crucial point, I am afraid your team will lose even more terribly than anticipated. Yi Qingtang's eyes flashed after hearing Xing Rong's words, but her face remained impassive. Xing Rong, you are so shameless. Lei Yan was enraged. Even a fool could see that Xing Rong was just being a sore loser and purposely trying to stir trouble. Just as Lei Yan and the others were getting ready to fight it out with Xing Rong, a low voice rang out in a chiding tone. Xing Rong, shut up. Xing Rong stiffened at that voice. His blustering arrogance was instantly dispelled. Lifting his head, he looked toward the source of the voice. A middle-aged man and a handsome youth weaved their way through the crowd. Teacher, Xing Rong was petrified by the sight of the middle-aged man. Chapter 2378, Desperate from his losses, 3, respect and fear also flashed across the eyes of the crowd when they saw the middle-aged man. That is Heaven Dome Academy's teacher Jin Qianyang. I heard news that he had come this time, but I didn't expect that the rumors were true. Hasn't Jin Qianyang been in seclusion for a long time? How did Heaven Dome Academy manage to invite him over? Heaven Dome Academy must be going all out for this year's Inter-Academy competition. Who is that beside him? That is Yin Kong Luo. A powerful freak who nearly killed Sky Martial Academy's Xiao Yihan previously. He is Jin Qianyang's direct disciple. Whoa! He was able to defeat someone like Xiao Yihan. What kind of freak is that? The crowd was quietly shocked. In the blink of an eye, Jin Qianyang was already standing before Xing Rong. Xing Rong stood trembling before Jin Qianyang. He exuded fear from every pore of his skin, completely unable to utter a single sound. His lips were pale and turning purple. What happened? Jin Qianyang asked impassively. He was a strapping man, towering half a head over Xing Rong, who was already quite tall himself. Teacher. It's them, Xing Rong stammered. Faced with Jin Qianyang's dominant aura, he was scared to death and could barely speak. He no longer had the mind to spin any lies but just narrated the entire incident. But because of his anxiety, his narration was rather convoluted and confusing. Observing the scene before her, Yi Qingtang found it rather strange. Jin Qianyang was a teacher from Heaven Dome Academy and therefore Xing Rong was likely his student. But Yi Qingtang had never seen a student who was that fearful of his own teacher. This was not like the usual relationship between a student and teacher. Xing Rong stammered for a long while before finally finishing his narration. He did not even dare to glance at Jin Qianyang and his hands were trembling uncontrollably. This kind of fear which originated from the core was impossible to conceal. You were the one who borrowed Kongluo's spirit jade? Jin Qianyang's voice was even. But Xing Rong nearly fell to his knees in fright when he heard the question. Teacher. It was an accident. I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have borrowed senior brother Yin's spirit jade. Please forgive me. Realization dawned on everyone at Xing Rong's words. Xing Rong's spirit jade didn't even belong to him. He had borrowed it from Yin Kong Luo. No wonder Xing Rong had behaved so desperately after losing it. He was willing to shed aside his dignity to force Yi Qingtang to return it to him. Teacher, it's the Netherworld Academy teacher who flouted the rules. They should return the spirit jade. Xing Rong was well aware of Yin Kongluo's status. He did not dare to assume the responsibility of losing the spirit jade. He immediately pointed the finger at Yi Qingtang, hoping to divert Jin Qianyang's attention from himself. But before Xing Rong could finish his accusation, he was sent flying across the air as if he had been hit by a massive force, his body finally coming to a stop after crashing into a wall. Jin Qianyang watched Xing Rong with a cold eye before suddenly speaking to Yin Kong Luo. Yin Kong Luo immediately knew what Jin Qianyang was asking. He replied, Master, one spirit jade is nothing to me. Moreover, The Inter-Academy competition will be starting soon. By then, we will naturally get more spirit jades. Others need that spirit jade more than me. Chapter 2379, To Compete or Not to Compete. 1. A slight nod showed that Jin Qianyang was very satisfied with his disciple's answer. Lei Yan looked at Jin Qianyang and Yin Kong Luo, who had no intention of supporting Xing Rong. Jin Qianyang had even beat up Xing Rong. He immediately had a good impression of this master-disciple pair. I was still worried that Jin Qianyang would help Xing Rong. I didn't expect that he would be so fair. He's not a bad chap after all. Lei Yan looked at the rest, expecting them to concur. But he realized that the eyes of his companions had turned sharper and harsher. What was going on? It must be blissful to be so naive. Nangong Lai couldn't help sighing at Lei Yan's foolishness. What do you mean by that? Aren't I right? He's conceding that Xing Rong lost, right? Lei Yan was confused. When did you hear them admit to losing? Nangong Lai gave a cold laugh. Lei Yan frowned slightly. While Yin Kongluo's words were quite polite, unless you were a fool, no one could fail to hear the true meaning behind his words. Yin Kongluo said that he didn't care for one piece of spirit jade. He was confident of winning more at the Inter-Academy competition. On the other hand, spirit jade was extremely precious to the Netherworld Academy, and they desperately needed every single one they could get. Was this conceding defeat? This was the scornful condescension displayed by a powerful practitioner to a weaker party. He was hinting that the Netherworld Academy could only get spirit jades from under-the-table methods like chess gambling. The Netherworld Academy would never be able to get a single spirit jade in the Inter-Academy competition. Qin Feng and the rest heard the ridicule in those words. Lei Yan was the only one foolish enough not to detect it. He even thought they were good guys. Qin Feng and his group were fuming but couldn't say anything. As Yu Qing was present, they had to leave it up to him to settle. Right from the start, Jin Qianyang had not even spared a single glance at the Netherworld Academy folks. It was like they were completely invisible. Although Yu Qingtang knew what Qin Feng and the others were thinking, she would not do it. Without another word, Yu Qingtang led Lei Yan and the others away. Qin Feng and his group were taken aback by her actions. They felt that this was not at all like Yu Qing. But still, they followed him. After Yu Qing and his team left, Jin Qianyang also led Yin Kong Luo away. Before Yin Kong Luo left, he instructed several Heaven Dome Academy students to carry the unconscious Xing Rong back. He then caught up with Jin Qianyang. Xing Rong's chess skills are pretty good. His defeat today was just an accident. Master, please don't be too harsh. There's no harm done to let someone else win just this once. Yin Kong Luo smiled. Jin Qianyang glanced at Yin Kong Luo. Chess gambling is not the right way to go about things. Practitioners should fight it out with their real skills, and not make use of these side channels. Yin Kong Luo said respectfully, Master is right. The Netherworld Academy has already fallen and even their teacher has to personally participate in chess matches to win spirit jades. I am afraid they themselves are aware that it would be difficult for them to get any in the Inter-Academy competition. I can still afford to give them that one spirit jade. Jin Qianyang was very pleased with Yin Kongluo's confidence. As Jin Qianyang said, chess gambling was a shady practice and was not something true powerful practitioners should take part in. To think that the Netherworld Academy had now fallen so far that they had to rely on such nefarious methods to get spirit jades. They were worlds apart from the Heaven Dome Academy. There are significant changes to the team competition this year. I am very confident in your martial arts abilities, but you must put much effort into this team competition. Since we are going to win, we must make it a spectacular win. Yes. Chapter 2380, To Compete or Not to Compete, 2. Meanwhile, Yu Qingtang had led her brats back to their accommodation. They should have been basking in the glow of victory, but the brats all had rather strange expressions. They did not appear the least bit happy but looked rather grave and troubled. Yu Qingtang sat on the chair and surveyed the gloomy faces. She felt a slight headache coming. Why are you not satisfied after winning 2 spirit jades? The brats didn't dare to speak. Gong Jinyun was the only one who spoke up after some hesitation. Teacher Yi, the Heaven Dome Academy's ridicule is too insulting. We don't need those spirit jades. Yi Qingtang understood those kids now. In that case, we should throw those 2 spirit jades back at the Heaven Dome Academy. The brats snapped out of their gloom. Boss, you're right. You should just fling those spirit jades right in their faces. The Heaven Dome Academy thinks they are so good that they can look down on the Netherworld Academy. They talked as if we had no choice but to beg for their indulgence. Nangong Lai was feeling very aggrieved. Very logical. I will fling them as hard as possible. Yi Qingtang nodded as if she agreed. The teenagers all hurriedly nodded in unison. This was the boss they knew. But Yi Qingtang's face suddenly darkened. You guys have eaten so well over the years and managed to grow big and strong, but failed to develop any brains. The brats were stunned by Yi Qing's abrupt reprimand. Boss, Lei Yan was befuddled. Why did boss suddenly scold them? Fling the spirit jades back at them? Just for the sake of venting your anger? You are all too spoiled. Yi Qingtang was so exasperated that she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why were the various academies fighting so hard? It was all for those limited spirit jades, right? Yi Qingtang had never entered the God Relic, but she could tell how wondrous that place must be just by how highly regarded it was by the various academies. If Yi Qingtang was still in her early teens, she might have really just destroyed the spirit jade in an impulsive fit of rage, right in front of Yin Kong Luo. But she was not. The 2 spirit jades could let the Netherworld Academy send 2 more students into the God Relic. It could help the Netherworld Academy groom 2 more talented students. If the Netherworld Academy was as powerful as the Heaven Dome Academy and Sky Martial Academy, Yi Qingtang might have done it just to vent her anger. But the Netherworld Academy was not. These spirit jades did not only belong to Yi Qingtang. They also belonged to the Netherworld Academy. Wu Fengling allowed Yi Qingtang to join the Netherworld Academy. How could she bear to let him down and betray his trust? Yi Qingtang had already shed that immature way of thinking. She no longer let impulsive emotions control her actions. Do you think that after throwing away the spirit jade, we will be able to regain our dignity? Without true power, no one will ever hold you in any regard. To regain the Netherworld Academy's reputation, you need to fight for it on the competition grounds. Yi Qingtang spoke in a chilly voice. The brats felt like they had been knocked in the head by Yi Qing. Boss, Jing Zhe spoke up in a timid voice. Yi Qing just continued to stare at them coldly, and Jing Zhe immediately shut up. Get out. If you want people to look up to you, you need to show real power, Yi Qingtang said. Having been thoroughly lectured, the brats wanted to say something but kept silent from fear and awe of Yi Qing's fierce manner. Boss usually treated them with kindness and behaved like a brother to them. He seldom gave them a black face, and so they were helpless at his sudden sternness and had no choice but to obediently leave. Chapter 2381, To Compete or Not to Compete, 3, Yi Qingtang suddenly spoke up again. You guys spent the whole afternoon with that kid from the Heaven Dome Academy? Momentarily taken aback, they paused for a moment before nodding in unison. Did he go anywhere during that period? The teenagers shook their heads. Xing Rong played chess with us the entire time. He didn't leave for even a minute. Realization dawned upon Yi Qingtang. I see. The brats had no idea why Yi Qing suddenly asked such a question, but under the current circumstances, they didn't dare to ask any questions. So they obediently returned to their accommodations to reflect on their behavior. Yi Qingtang's stern expression faded as she watched their departing profiles. A bunch of troublemaking brats, she had to leave after the inter-academy competition, so she didn't have much time left to teach them. It was time for them to grow up. Not only did they have to improve their powers, but they also had to develop their minds and characters. Otherwise, it would be difficult for them to achieve great things. Yi Qingtang sighed again before recalling something which Xing Rong casually mentioned. Bringing along those 2 spirit jades, she went looking for Wenqi. Vice President, were the details about the Inter-Academy competition rule changes known even before today? Yi Qingtang asked directly. Wenqi couldn't help being taken aback by her question. He shook his head. No, the information is highly classified. We only knew that there would be some changes but had no idea about the details at all. Why did you ask about that? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly as Wenqi's words affirmed her suspicions. Anxious from his defeat, Xing Rong inadvertently disclosed something. It seemed that Xing Rong had known that a teacher would lead this year's team competitions. But at that time, Yi Qingtang and the others had just returned from the briefing where the details were first announced. Xing Rong had been with Lei Yan and the rest the entire time and did not have any interaction with the Heaven Dome Academy teachers. So how did he know of this information? Unless... The only possibility was that he already knew of the details of the changes from before. Although Yi Qingtang had initially suspected it, Wenqi's words only confirmed her conjecture. So Yi Qingtang immediately told Wenqi about Xing Rong and handed the 2 spirit jades to him. You are saying that the Heaven Dome Academy student already knew of the details of the rule change? Wenqi had no time to rejoice at the 2 new spirit jades. His face was grave. Yi Qingtang nodded. Wenqi's face darkened even further. If that was true, then there was something off about the entire situation. Wu Fengling's connections were not inferior to any of the other academies. Even so, he only managed to learn that there would be changes to rules and not the details. But now, even a student from the Heaven Dome Academy knew of the details beforehand. Yi Qing, I will have someone investigate this matter. If the Heaven Dome Academy is the only one who had the early information, or that, our Netherworld Academy is the only one who didn't know the details beforehand, Wenqi started. If it was the former, things might not be that bad. If it was the latter. Wenqi could not ascertain the truth behind this matter for now. But it was not the most pressing issue at large. Yi Qing, let me handle this matter. On a related topic, I plan to wait till tomorrow to discuss something with you all, but it looks like the sooner the better. Go and gather the other teachers. We need to quickly decide on how to deal with this year's Inter-Academy competition. Chapter 2382, Making a Choice, 1. Soon after, the Netherworld Academy teachers had all gathered. Since knowing of the rule changes, they had been deliberating over it non-stop. This year's Inter-Academy competition is very important to our academy. Does anyone have any thoughts? Wenqi asked. The teachers all looked grave. No matter how one looked at it, the Netherworld Academy had no advantage at all for this year's Inter-Academy competition. Due to the storms, the mainland where the Netherworld Academy was situated was isolated from the other mainlands. Even if the family clans from the other mainlands had wanted to enroll their youths in the Netherworld Academy, they would give up in the end due to the relentless storms. Moreover, their mainland was somewhat different from the other mainlands. The sects flourished on their mainland. Due to the presence of the Temple of Paragon and the deep pockets of the family clans, they would choose to send their top talents to the stricter sects instead. This resulted in a dwindling number of elite youths enrolled in the Netherworld Academy. This situation had only worsened over time, contributing to the gradual decline of the Netherworld Academy. Vice President, apart from the team competition, there are not many changes to the other segments. Although we are not supposed to speak of some things, for fear of tarnishing our reputation, I must still speak up. Just looking at the martial arts segment, our Netherworld Academy has no advantage at all. One of the teachers spoke up in exasperation. There was a significant disparity between the top students from the Netherworld Academy and those from the other academies. For alchemy, Song Yanhan and Yun Qin might be able to win placements, but even if they successfully enter the top 10, we still need one more. Luo Sheng looked grim. As the Netherworld Academy had Elder Zhu, their medicine faculty was still coping well. And Yi Qing had produced Yun Qin, who had become another potential candidate. But the Netherworld Academy needed at least 3 spirit jades to be able to retain their permanent spot in the Inter-Academy competition. In your opinion, what are the chances of Qin Feng and Ran Mo winning in the competition? Wen Qi asked. The teachers exchanged looks. For a moment there, no one spoke. This silence was a good indication of what they were thinking on the inside. Although Ran Mo was very gifted, he was still too young. If he could continue training for a few more years, he would be able to stand out in the martial arts segment. As for Qin Feng, he should have been the best candidate, but due to his decline over the past few years, his progress had been delayed by quite a bit. If he hadn't met Qin Feng might have just completely disappeared from everyone's radar. These two were very talented, but one was too young while the other's progress had been delayed. Even with their current powers, they were still quite some distance behind the top students from the other academies. The group all felt that it was such a pity. If only they had another year to prepare for the inter-academy competition. Their Netherworld Academy would not end up in such a dismal state then. Only the top 10 would be selected in the martial arts segment, and both Qin Feng and Ran Mo were from the martial arts faculty. From what the teachers observed, all the other academies had over 20 Divine Lord 3rd Heaven level students. The Netherworld Academy had no chance of winning. Wen Qi was well aware of their situation. He had already mentally prepared for this, but faced with the truth now, he still couldn't help feeling depressed. All the while Qingtang silently observed the scene. She more or less had a clear idea of the Netherworld Academy's circumstances now. Chapter 2383, Making a Choice, 2, Yiqing, do you have any thoughts about this? Wen Qi looked towards Yiqing. He and Wu Fengling planned to groom Yiqing to become an important teacher in the Netherworld Academy in the future. Qingtang pondered for some time before replying. Since there is a certain disparity between their powers, there is no need to waste any time worrying about that. Instead, I believe that we have a chance in the team competition. All the teachers were stunned. Even when she looked surprised at Yi Qingtang's words. Team competition. Teacher Yi. I am afraid we have no advantage in the team competition either. The individual powers of our martial arts students cannot compare to the other academies. Compounding the disparity by 10 times, the gap would only become wider. One of the teachers felt that Yiqing was oversimplifying things. If the team competition was just a series of sparring matches, the gap would definitely become wider. But this year's team competition is different. Qingtang explained. For this year's team competition, we need to kill the most number of demons within a period of time. We are not fighting against the other teams. Despite the reasoning, the other teachers still believed that Yiqing was being too naive. Even if we are competing on the number of demons killed, the moment we enter the Wailing Well, the various teams will definitely resort to all sorts of nefarious methods in order to win. By then, it will not just be a simple matter of killing demons. The other academies will try their best to eliminate the competition while killing the demons. Don't forget that there are no rules stating that teams cannot fight each other. One of the teachers raised this point. With the current power level of the Netherworld Academy students, they would definitely lose if they had to fight the top teams of the other academies. I feel that it is still better to let Qin Feng and Ran Mo have a go. As long as one of them is able to enter the top 10, we should be okay, another teacher suggested. He was really not that optimistic about the team competition. Even in the past, the team competition had always been Netherworld Academy's weakest segment. After all, the Netherworld Academy had never won a single team competition before. The chances of Ran Mo and Qin Feng winning are close to zero, Qingtang said suddenly. The faces of the teachers instantly darkened. Although Yiqing was speaking the truth, wasn't it still too direct of him to say that? Ignoring those disapproving eyes, Qingtang looked towards Wen Qi. If we make Qin Feng and Ran Mo compete in the martial arts sparring matches, not only are their chances near zero, the team competition would follow right after. By then, they would be drained after their sparring matches and not be as effective in the team competition. Qingtang had her own plans. She had never been one to walk the usual pathways. In her previous life, she had experienced all sorts of dangerous situations, and she also knew that the Netherworld Academy teachers wanted to play it safe. But now that things had come to this, she could not allow them to insist on their conservative ways. Instead of placing our hopes on something which we already know that we have little chance of winning, why don't we take a risk on the team competition, Yi Qingtang persuaded. The Wailing Well was an unfamiliar place to all the academies, so everyone would be starting from the same point. In addition, Yi Qingtang would be personally leading the team. They might have a chance there. Wen Qi was deep in thought. Teacher Yi is asking us to actively give up on all the other segments apart from the team competition. Chapter 2384, Making a Choice, 3. Since we know we are going to lose, why don't we conserve our energy? Yi Qingtang asked. Conserve energy? Teacher Yi has never participated in an inter-academy competition before. Do you know that if the Netherworld Academy actively forfeits the preceding segments, the amount of criticism we would have to endure? So you are saying that the Netherworld Academy is not being criticized now? Yi Qingtang asked in a mild tone. The teachers all stiffened. From the moment the Netherworld Academy started to decline, the criticisms never ceased. I will consider this matter carefully. Everyone, please return first and think through it too. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know. Wen Qi spoke up. After imparting some other instructions, he allowed them to leave. Yi Qing, wait a moment. Wen Qi suddenly asked for Yi Qing to stay. The other teachers all looked surprised. Yi Qing had created quite a stir in the Netherworld Academy earlier and they all acknowledged his powers. But he was still too young. The other teachers did not believe that Yi Qing was good enough to assume this responsibility. After everyone else departed, only Wen Qi and Yi Qing were left in the room. Vice President, do you have more instructions for me? Yi Qingtang asked. Wen Qi kept silent for a moment as he gazed at Yi Qing. He then spoke slowly. If you lead the team inside the Wailing Well for the team competition, what are your chances of winning? Yi Qingtang replied frankly, 30%. 30% was not that great of a number. But this was the highest percentage that Yi Qingtang could offer. After all, no one had ever really entered the Wailing Well before. But Wen Qi gave a sudden laugh. 30%? That's enough. With that, Wen Qi looked at Yi Qing. In reality, President Wu and I have already predicted the outcome of this inter-academy competition, and we do not have any high hopes for this year's competition. We just want to make use of this one last chance to let our students gain more experience. Their chances of winning in the martial arts segment were as good as zero. But Yi Qing was able to offer a 30% chance at winning the team competition. Wen Qi could see that although Yi Qing was young, he was very level-headed and capable when it came to handling things. His calm, competent manner was unlike that of a youth only in his 20s. Since you already have a plan, we will go along with your arrangements. I will settle everything else. Wen Qi gave his permission. Yi Qingtang was taken aback. Was Wen Qi agreeing just like that? You don't need to bother about the plans of the other teachers, the Netherworld Academy can spare a team to fight for a chance. But we cannot have everyone else give up on the martial arts segment. Wen Qi looked at Yi Qing with a grave expression. For some competitions, even though we know we will lose, we have no choice but to meet them. Yi Qingtang understood Wen Qi's meaning. There's something else. Wen Qi suddenly piped up. Vice President, please speak freely. Wen Qi continued. Your elixir refinement skills are good enough. This year's team competition is full of unknown factors and to be safe, there is no need to have another medicine faculty student on the team. Wen Qi was referring to Yun Chen. The team needed to have someone who knew alchemy, but since Yi Qingtang was already very good at elixir refinement, there was no need to bring along a helpless medicine faculty student who might end up being a burden. Yi Qingtang looked at Wen Qi. Vice President, Wen Qi thought that Yi Qing would be reluctant to leave out Yun Chen. Yun Chen is a good kid and he will be able to prove himself in the alchemy competition. So there is no need for you to risk his life in the team competition. In response, Yi Qingtang only said simply, Yun Chen is at the Divine Lord stage. Wen Qi. Chapter 2385, Endure, 1, Yun Chen is at the Divine Lord stage. Wen Qi felt that he must have misheard. Before the Netherworld Academy selection trials, Yi Qingtang had 6 students under her and Yun Chen was the only one from the medicine faculty. Under her guidance, the other 5 had broken through to the Divine Lord stage within a short period of time. They had become the hottest topic in the Netherworld Academy. Meanwhile, Yun Chen's significant improvement in elixir refinement had also garnered much attention. As for the level of his martial art, no one paid much notice to that. As when she looked at her doubtfully, Yi Qingtang gave a steady nod of her head. Wen Qi, with Yun Chen's martial arts level, it should not be a problem for him to come with us into the Wailing Well. Before Yi Qingtang could finish her sentence, Wen Qi waved. Let me think for a minute. Yi Qingtang, think about what? Wen Qi carefully considered Yi Qing's words. After confirming he had not misunderstood, he looked at her with a conflicted expression. Do you mean that Yun Chen is already at the Divine Lord level now? Yi Qingtang nodded. When did he break through to that stage? Wen Qi asked again. Yi Qingtang replied, probably around the same time as Lei Yan and the others. Wen Qi gasped. Yun Chen was part of the martial arts faculty when he first joined the Netherworld Academy. He only switched to the medicine faculty due to his physical issues. But, was Yi Qing telling him now that Yun Chen was already at the Divine Lord stage? And that he had broken through at around the same time as Lei Yan and the rest? Wen Qi's expression grew increasingly complicated. That's to say all 6 of the students under you have already ascended to the Divine Lord level? Yi Qingtang nodded. Wen Qi felt rather flustered. All 6 had been handed over to Yi Qing at the same time, and every single one of them had a different problem. But somehow Yi Qing was able to bring all these 6 teenagers onto the Divine Lord level? Impossible. Wen Qi had been in teaching for several decades, but this was the first time he had encountered such a formidable teacher. Even Wu Fengling did not produce this level of success. What kind of wonderful freak of nature was this Yi Qing? Alright, arrange things according to your plans. Wen Qi could no longer object. He was even thinking that he might have been too conservative in only giving Yi Qing 6 students then. If he had given him more, wouldn't they have more Divine Lord level students now? Alright, Yi Qingtang replied. Wen Qi sighed. He looked at Yi Qing with gratitude. Yi Qing, you are even more exemplary than I imagined. But I must remind you of one point. Vice President, please go ahead. Wen Qi continued. I am permitting you to carry out your plan, but you must be mentally prepared. Ran Mo and Qin Feng are the 2 most talented martial students in our academy. They are under you now, and according to your arrangements, they cannot participate in the individual martial arts competition. Apart from them, our other martial arts students have no chance at all of squeezing into the top 10. We will suffer a terrible defeat during that competition. Wen Qi had his own worries. After suffering that massive defeat, the entire Netherworld Academy would be full of dismay. And Yi Qing, who was the one who didn't allow Ran Mo and Qin Feng to participate, would definitely bear the brunt of that outrage. Chapter 2386, Endure, 2, Wen Qi could permit Yi Qing's plan, but he would not be able to change the opinions of others. He was worried that Yi Qing would have to endure intense criticism following the decision. Some of the veteran Netherworld Academy teachers had been unconvinced of a teacher as young as Yi Qing. With Di Nuo's departure, even more teachers believed that Yi Qing was too impulsive. Wen Qi was worried that after the individual martial arts competition, Yi Qing would have to endure unprecedented pressure. I don't mind, Yi Qingtang replied. Wen Qi looked at Yi Qing with relief. After speaking a few more words with him, he allowed the youth to leave. The next morning, students from the various academies set off for the competition arena. Today, they would draw lots to see who their opponents would be. The exciting sparring competitions would officially begin today. Lei Yan and the others woke early and dressed themselves up neat and proper. They then stood in a row outside Yi Qing's room, waiting for their boss to lead them to the arena. But after waiting for some time, Yi Qing still hadn't opened her door. Did boss oversleep? Lei Yan murmured. Today was a big day. Why did their boss choose to oversleep today? Don't tell me we really angered boss that badly yesterday. Nan Gonglai asked sheepishly. The teenagers exchanged looks. They saw that nearly all of the students in North Hall had already left. But they couldn't decide whether they should knock on her door. In the end, Qin Feng looked at Mu Ziying. Little senior sister, we have to trouble you again. Qin Feng spoke earnestly. Mu Ziying, the brats knew very well that Yi Qing would never lose his temper at Mu Ziying. Their little senior sister was their lucky charm. They had never seen boss being fierce to her. Once again being forced by the others, Mu Ziying went forward to knock on the door in resignation. Boss, are you awake? Mu Ziying called out. Not long after Mu Ziying called out, the door was finally opened. Yi Qing had a coat hastily draped across his shoulders, his long, black hair casually pulled back in a loose ponytail. He did not look like someone who was prepared to head out at all. Boss, wake up. We won't be able to make it if we don't go now. Nan Gonglai urged. Go where? Yi Qing Tang was still groggy. The drawing of lots for the sparring matches. Yi Qing Tang yawned. You guys don't need to draw lots. Go back. What? The teenagers were all stunned. No need to draw lots. What was boss saying? But. Teacher Yi, what do you mean? Do you mean we don't need to be there personally for the drawing of the lots? The usually shy Chiu Nan asked in a timid manner. Yi Qing Tang looked at their confused faces. I mean that you guys don't need to participate in the individual martial arts competition. Yi Qing's words were like a bolt of lightning striking their heads. Boss. We know we were in the wrong. We are immature and ignorant. We are foolish and stupid. Please have mercy and give us a chance. We have already reflected on ourselves the entire night. Please don't be so angry anymore. Lei Yan was the first to snap out of his trance. He threw himself at Yi Qing's feet with a cry, clutching onto Yi Qing's thigh as he wailed pitifully. Their boss was so enraged by their behavior yesterday. Boss wanted to give up and didn't even want to let them participate in the inter-academy competition anymore. Chapter 2387, Endure, 3, Yi Qing Tang, pulling the wailing Lei Yan off herself, she looked at him in disdain. At the same time, Qin Feng and others also looked at Yi Qing with eyes filled with dismay. They never expected Yi Qing to be so angry as to do something like this. What could they do now? Yi Qing Tang felt a headache coming on. You guys don't need to participate in the individual martial arts competition. What you need to do now is to prepare yourselves for the team competition. Team competition? Lei Yan immediately stopped his wailing. He looked at Yi Qing in confusion. You guys don't have much chance of winning the martial arts segment, so the vice president and I have arranged for our team to focus all our efforts on the team competition. Do you understand now? Yi Qing Tang was really scared of Lei Yan's piercing cries. The teenagers heaved a sigh of relief at Yi Qing's words. Boss, so, none of us will be participating in the individual martial arts competition? Jing Zhe asked cautiously. Yi Qing Tang nodded. Yun Chen asked, what about me? All competitors in the alchemy competition compete at the same time. You just head over when the time comes. Yi Qing Tang did not intend for Yun Chen to give up his alchemy competition. After all, the alchemy competition would not damage his physical well-being. Jing Zhe and the others had no objection to Yi Qing's arrangements. They would do whatever their boss said. All was fine as long as boss wasn't angry. The reactions of Heng Wenwei and the others were more complicated. They had been under Yi Qing for a shorter period of time and were still unsure of his temper. Although they found his arrangements somewhat unusual, they were now all under her lead. Anyway, when she had assented to this, so there was nothing left to object. Moreover, Yi Qing was right. After seeing the other students in the North Hall, they knew that their powers were not on par. Their chances of winning in a one-on-one sparring match were practically abysmal. Apart from Ran Mo and Qin Feng, there was no way the others would even come near the top 10. Meanwhile, the drawing of the lots for the Inter-Academy competition kicked off with a bang. Some of the teenagers were thrilled with their lot, some were dismayed. For the next few days, the Inter-Academy competition progressed at a red-hot pace. Countless sparring matches were carried out one after the other. Adrenaline and glory bloomed in every battle. In the first few days, the Netherworld Academy's inferior situation was not yet noticeable. The Netherworld Academy teachers and students didn't bother themselves about it then. But as the competition progressed, the Netherworld Academy's inferior position became increasingly clearer. More and more Netherworld Academy students could be seen nursing injuries and recovering from their defeats in the North Hall. In just a few days, the entire Netherworld Academy was nearly utterly defeated. Only a few managed to cling on to the latter stages of the sparring competition. Things were not looking good at all. At first, the Netherworld Academy teachers didn't discover any anomalies. But after observing the matches over the past few days, they realized none of Yi Qing's students had participated in the sparring matches. Even Ran Mo and Qin Feng never showed their faces a single time. Vice President, we need an account of what is happening. Several teachers sought out Wen Qi in anger. Even when Wen Qi explained that Yi Qing and his team were focusing on the team competition, it was to no avail. Without Ran Mo and Qin Feng, it would just be a couple of days more before all of the Netherworld Academy students would be eliminated from the martial arts competition. We will be the laughingstock of the entire Inter-Academy competition. Chapter 2388, Endure. 4. A student who had just undergone a battle stood behind the teachers, his body covered in multiple injuries. These students had used their own flesh and blood to defend the Netherworld Academy's reputation. Meanwhile, Yi Qing and his team were hiding at the back. Even though he had the two most important students in the Netherworld Academy, he refused to let them participate. How could the students and teachers, who had sacrificed so much for the honor of the Netherworld Academy, endure this situation? We can't say anything about Qin Feng not participating. After all, he was brought to his current level by Yi Qing. But what about Ran Mo, Hang Wenwei, and the others? What right does Yi Qing have to prevent them from participating? This is also my decision. If you have a problem with it, I will bear the consequences. Wen Qi sighed. Vice President, we know you are protecting Yi Qing, but this Inter-Academy competition concerns the future of our Netherworld Academy. As much as you want to protect him, there should be a limit to it. Wen Qi looked very helpless. After all, he already predicted this situation. At this time, Yi Qingtang had just arrived at the doorway. Before she stepped in, she could already hear the teacher's angry demands. Just as she was prepared to enter, Luo Sheng suddenly hurried over to stop her. Luo Sheng shook his head at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang knew Luo Sheng had good intentions. She was just about to say something when a familiar voice rang out from the room. Qiu Nan, speak for yourself. Vice President, I also wish to participate in the sparring matches, Qiu Nan's voice rang out from the room. Previously when Yi Qingtang informed them that they were not going to participate in the sparring matches, Qiu Nan already felt rather uncomfortable. Then his former teacher had sought him out and told him that he couldn't forsake the Academy's honor just to save his own skin. Even if he knew he would lose, he should not be afraid of battle. As a result, Qiu Nan had followed his teacher to meet Wen Qi today. But even if Qiu Nan wanted to participate now, it was already too late. Having missed the drawing of the lots on the first day, no one would be allowed to join in midway. Argumentative voices continued inside the room, and Luo Sheng didn't let Yi Qingtang enter. The two of them just remained standing outside. After a long time, the door was opened. Angry-faced teachers barged out. Seeing Yi Qing standing outside, the anger on their faces intensified. Meanwhile, Qiu Nan couldn't help ducking out of sight when he saw Yi Qing. Yi Qing, from today onwards, you are not to interfere with Qiu Nan anymore. He is my student. You don't need to worry about him in the future. Qiu Nan's teacher snapped furiously before leading Qiu Nan away. The other teachers and students also glared at Yi Qing with displeasure. Without another word, they all stormed off. Wen Qi was inside the room looking very grim. Seeing Yi Qing and Luo Xing outside, he composed himself and said, "Yi Qing, the individual martial arts competition will end in a few days. Following that will be the alchemy competition, so have Yunqin prepare." Even now Wen Qi's attitude was genial and gentle and he behaved like nothing had happened. But Yi Qingtang had also heard of the consecutive defeats suffered by the Netherworld Academy over the past few days. Combined with what she overheard just now, Yi Qingtang could imagine just how much pressure Wen Qi was under now. Yes. Yi Qingtang nodded before she departed without another word. After that day, Qiu Nan no longer appeared with Hang Wenwei and the others. He had returned to his teacher's side. Lei Yan and his group realized this but no one made any further comments. Chapter 2389, Replacement, 1, Time passed day by day. The Inter-Academy competition progressed continuously and the top students from the various academies reigned over the matches, dominating intense battle after intense battle. Meanwhile, Lei Yan and his group didn't set a single foot out of the North Hall. They spent every available second improving their cultivation. This year's Inter-Academy competition was more intense than in previous years. It was said that during the finals of the martial arts competition, the sparring match to determine the number one student was so fierce that it nearly destroyed the entire university. In the end, the teenager who emerged victorious was someone completely unexpected. It was not Xiaoyi Han from the Sky Martial Academy nor was it Yin Kong Luo from the Heaven Dome Academy. It was an unknown teenage girl from some second-tier academy. It was said that this teenage girl was already at the Divine Lord 4th level mid-stage. Meeting Yin Kong Luo in the finals, she completely dominated Yin Kong Luo. This outcome was completely unexpected. The individual martial arts competition finally came to an end after 2 weeks. Only 2 or 3 students from the Netherworld Academy managed to squeeze into the top 50. None of them were even close to the top 10. One of the Netherworld Academy students fought to his last breath and managed to just enter the top 20. In the end, he had to be carried back to the North Hall. Pfft, useless garbage. The teenagers returned, covered in injuries from their defeats. They glared at Lei Yan and the others, who did not participate in a single match, their eyes filled with disdain. Don't come to the Inter-Academy competition if you have no guts to fight. Taking up the slots for nothing. What a joke. And they are Divine Lord stage, what a bunch of spineless deserters. Those harsh insults barraged the ears of Lei Yan and his group endlessly. Actually, right after Qiu Nan left, Qin Feng and his team already felt that something was not quite right. They did not question the reason behind Qiu Nan's departure. Now and then when they bumped into Qiu Nan, he would just circle around them and act as if he didn't know them at all. At first, Lei Yan was rather pissed off at the snubbing. After all, Yi Qing had treated Qiu Nan no different from the rest of them while he was under him. Their teacher had taught him quite a number of cultivation techniques, but he had just turned and left. And he was now behaving as if they were in the wrong. Luckily Qin Feng had held Lei Yan back, otherwise, there might have been a scuffle. Even so, it was clear that their team had become like alley rats in the eyes of the other Netherworld Academy folks. They all glared at them with eyes filled with rage. Gong Jinyun and Hang Wenwei's teachers had also sought them out to persuade them to return, just like what Qiu Nan's teacher had done. But they rejected their teacher's offers. They decided to stay until the Inter-Academy competition ended. Seeing this, Lei Yan was so touched that he wanted to become sworn brothers with those two. Very soon, Yun Chen's alchemy competition started. Compared to other competitions, the alchemy competition was much simpler and more straightforward. In just one day, the entirety of the competition was completed with the results announced as well. After the consecutive defeats suffered by the Netherworld Academy earlier, they finally had students who successfully entered the top 10. Yun Chen and Song Yanhan were both in the top 10 of the alchemy competition. Song Yanhan was ranked 8th while Yun Chen managed to garner 5th place. Everyone knew that Song Yanhan was Zhu Ning's personal disciple, while Zhu Ning was the teacher who produced that Grand Master Alchemist. As a result, no one was surprised at Song Yanhan's results. Chapter 2390, replacement, 2. On the other hand, Yun Chen's high ranking created a major stir and attracted quite a bit of attention. No one had even heard of Yun Chen before, but this time, his ranking was even higher than Song Yanhan's. Quite a number of people wondered about the identity of Yun Chen's teacher, and whether he was Zhu Ning's secret disciple. But Yun Chen remained a mystery. Due to their earlier consecutive defeats, the Netherworld Academy folks kept to themselves and it became impossible for the public to garner more information. Yun Chen is so formidable. His win is a major boost to us. Lei Yan and the others patted him on the back with glee. Yun Chen's victory gave them a chance to breathe a little easier after several days of immense pressure. The team competition will start soon now that the alchemy competition has ended, right? Hang Wenwei asked. We should have another couple of days. It will be our turn to perform then. I must let them see that we are not useless. Lei Yan waved his fists. Goodness knew how much ridicule he had endured over the past few days. If not for Yi Qing holding him back, he would probably have gotten into a fight with some of those other students. Qiu Nan looked at Yi Qing. Boss, each team should have 10 students and 1 teacher. With Qiu Nan's departure, we still need one more person. Over the past few days, they tacitly avoided any mention of Qiu Nan. But now, they were indeed missing one person from their team. The team competition rules were strict. If there were not enough people on the team, they would lose the chance to participate. Yi Qingtang was well aware of that. Yesterday, she had especially sought out Wen Qi and he only said that he would send someone over today. Lei Yan and the others were still peeved at Qiu Nan leaving them without a single word. But it was undeniable that he was the most suitable candidate. This year's competition was exceptionally intense. Most of the Netherworld Academy students who participated in the individual martial arts segment returned with multiple injuries. And they had already formed their own teams anyway. It would be difficult to find a last-minute replacement. Just as they were discussing this, Wen Qi led someone toward them. Yi Qing, I have brought your new teammate. Wen Qi was smiling but the teenager standing behind him bore a more complicated expression. Yi Qingtang, Jing Zhe, and the rest turned to look. The brats were all stunned by the sight of the teenager standing behind Wen Qi. Even Yi Qingtang was surprised when she saw who it was. It was no random stranger whom Wen Qi had brought. It was their old friend, Song Yanhan. Song Yanhan was standing quietly behind Wen Qi, looking very awkward. He could clearly see the astonished looks on the faces of Lei Yan and the rest. If not for Wen Qi's presence, Song Yanhan might have just turned and run off. Since losing to Yun Chen at the Netherworld Academy selection trials and after Zhu Ning lost to Yi Qing, Song Yanhan consistently avoided Yi Qing and the others. Even when Zhu Ning brought him over to Yi Qing's place to research elixirs together, Song Yanhan would hide in a corner and make his presence as small as possible. No one dreamed that one day, he would be forced to join Yi Qing's team for the team competition. Song Yanhan just felt like crying now. If he had known things would turn out like this, he would never have provoked Qin Feng back then. Why did he do that? Chapter 2391, Replacement, 3, Vice President, Yi Qingtang knew that Wen Qi was going to send someone over. But, she never expected that someone to be Song Yanhan. Zhu Ning had taught Song Yanhan his alchemy skills. If not for Yun Chen, he would definitely be the Netherworld Academy's only hope. With someone of his caliber, Wu Fengling should have already assigned him to a team. One of Song Yanhan's teammates is injured and has yet to recover. I am afraid he won't be able to participate in the team competition, Wen Qi sighed in frustration. The teenager who performed the best amongst the Netherworld Academy students for the martial arts segment was in Song Yanhan's team. He had given his best but ended up being severely injured, so there was no possibility that he could not continue competing. With one person down, Song Yanhan's team would not be able to qualify for the team competition. Under Zhu Ning's suggestion, Wen Qi decided to send Song Yanhan over to Yi Qing's team. Of course, they could always replace that severely injured teenager with Qiu Nan, but Qiu Nan had already been transferred to his teacher's team. There were also other teams with members too injured to continue. After shuffling around the fragmented teams, Song Yanhan emerged alone. Wen Qi had his reasons for this arrangement. The other teams already had their own alchemists, most of whom had rather low martial art levels. Yi Qing's Yun Chen was the only exception. Is he willing? Yi Qingtang looked at Song Yanhan. In reality, she did not really care who was sent over to their team. Her 9 brats were enough. As long as the replacement would not be a burden, she had no objections. Wen Qi knew of Yi Qing's concerns, as well as the conflict between Song Yanhan, Lei Yan, and the others, so he glanced at Song Yanhan. Sighing in resignation, Song Yanhan stepped forward. Teacher Yi, I was foolish and ignorant in the past. Please forgive me, I will give my best for this team competition. Song Yanhan felt very aggrieved. He used to hold such a high status in the Netherworld Academy in the past, but now he had ended up with this team, and he even had to beg to join them. But this person he was begging, he couldn't deny the latter's skills. Not only were Yi Qing's elixir refinement skills higher than his master Zhu Ning's, but even his students' abilities were also better than his own. What else could Song Yanhan say? Alright. Yi Qingtang saw that Song Yanhan was sincere about joining, and so she didn't try to make things difficult for him. After everything was confirmed, Wen Qi led Yi Qing to one side for a private conversation. Meanwhile, Song Yanhan was left standing before that bunch of brats. Song Yanhan, Lei Yan rubbed his chin and circled around Song Yanhan. The expression on Lei Yan's face gave Song Yanhan goosebumps. Brother. Lei Yan smacked Song Yanhan's shoulder. Song Yanhan was startled. Damn, he wouldn't be able to hold his own against this guy in a fight. Was this fellow going to take this opportunity to take revenge now? We are a family from now on, so don't worry. We will take care of you during the team competition. But, you need to control your teacher in the future. Please stop him from dragging our boss away all the time, Lei Yan spoke meaningfully. Song Yanhan, how could this bunch of kids still be so relaxed? Didn't they know the trouble the Netherworld Academy was in? Song Yanhan was different from Lei Yan and the others. He knew the dire straits the Netherworld Academy would be in if they failed to get 3 spirit jades in this competition. Currently, they only had in their possession the 2 spirit jades won by Yun Chen and him. The only competition that remained was the team competition. Chapter 2392, Wailing Well, 1. The next 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Soon enough, the final segment of the Inter-Academy competition finally arrived. The team competition was upon them and the location was the Wailing Well situated in the Evil Marsh. A strange and mystical land which was only recently opened. Over 100 teams from the various academies, comprising thousands of participants, were fully prepared, just waiting for this final battle. There was only one entrance to the Wailing Well. The academy teams had to draw lots to decide the sequence of entry. Without the special talisman, no one would be able to leave the Wailing Well after entering. And for this year's competition, they had to remain in the Wailing Well for a fixed period of time and kill the most number of demons to win. As a result, the team to enter the Wailing Well first would have the greatest advantage. Lei Yan and the others had already prepared everything. Due to the special rules for this competition, they had to hand over their space rings to others for safekeeping. Apart from their clothes and personal weapons, they could not bring anything in. Only the teachers in the various teams could bring one space ring, and it could only contain the teleportation talisman to leave the Wailing Well, as well as the medicine faculty students' tripods. No food, no water, no elixirs, no special artifacts. Once inside the Wailing Well, they would face a harsh, unknown land. Yi Qingtang went forward to draw their lot. Lei Yan and the others waited at the side. Humph, haven't seen you all for so long. Didn't think you guys would have the guts to show up today. A mocking voice rang out from behind the group. Lei Yan and the others turned to see Xing Rong with a group of Heaven Dome Academy students. Since that fateful day, Xing Rong held a grudge against them. He wanted to see if he could get a chance to beat up Lei Yan and the others during the martial arts sparring matches. But unexpectedly, he didn't even catch a glimpse of them in the arena. Thereafter, Xing Rong heard that the Netherworld Academy's top 2 students had not participated in the sparring matches at all. This became a big joke and a major talking point amongst the other academies. Lei Yan wanted to charge forward but Qin Feng stopped him. Now was not the time to get in a fight. Xing Rong sneered provocatively at them with a mocking expression. I won't let you off so easily for our previous altercation. After entering the Wailing Well, you'd better pray that you don't encounter me. Otherwise, Xing Rong narrowed his eyes which were filled with threat. Xing Rong, don't waste your breath on them. Teacher said that our main opponents are the Sky Martial Academy and Cold Cloud Academy. One of the teenagers reminded him. The Netherworld Academy had fallen so far behind that they were no threat to anyone, and no one treated them as competition. That's right. Xing Rong smiled. But I can still toy with them. Ha! With that, Xing Rong and his team turned to leave. Damn, after entering the Wailing Well, let's see who's afraid of whom. Lei Yan gritted his teeth as he glared at Xing Rong's departing profile. But Song Yanhan, who didn't know what had happened between the two sides, looked grim. He didn't expect for Lei Yan and his team to have already made enemies with the Heaven Dome Academy even before the competition started. It should be pointed out that the Heaven Dome Academy's Yin Kong Luo had won second place in the individual martial arts competition. Their power was not something which they could go against. It was definitely not a good thing to be targeted by those folks so early on. After all, there were no rules stating that teams couldn't attack each other inside the Wailing Well. Chapter 2393, Wailing Well, 2, How did you end up provoking those Heaven Dome Academy people? Song Yanhan couldn't resist asking. Who provoked them? They came looking for trouble themselves. Lei Yan snorted in annoyance. Song Yanhan looked increasingly grim. Yi Qing's students were really all so ignorant. Couldn't they see the disparity between their skill levels and that of the Heaven Dome Academy folks? Isn't that Qiu Nan? Gong Jinyun caught a glimpse of Qiu Nan standing with another team. The others turned to look. As if sensing their gaze, Qiu Nan instinctively averted his eyes and pretended to chat with his teammates. Upon realizing that Qiu Nan was purposely avoiding them, the teenagers couldn't help feeling rather upset. We trained together for so many weeks. This fellow, how can he be so heartless? Lei Yan sighed in resignation. Song Yanhan glanced at Lei Yan but remained silent. Actually, Song Yanhan was able to see the situation more clearly than Lei Yan and the rest. Apart from Wen Qi and Luo Sheng, the other Netherworld Academy teachers and students in Universe City were all very angry with Yi Qing and his team. Even for him, he had endured quite a number of sarcastic insults over the past couple of days. The drawing of the lots soon concluded. Yi Qing had drawn a number somewhere in the middle. The first team to enter the Wailing Well was from the Sky Martial Academy. Just before they entered, a yellow bean-sized ball appeared and floated above their heads. The ball followed them in. This ball would record everything which happened to the team so that all the academy leaders would be able to watch the entire proceedings. This was also a measure to prevent someone from secretly bringing in a restricted item. In addition, it could show the performance of every single student. One by one, the teams entered the Wailing Well, until it was finally Yi Qingtang's turn. Yi Qingtang led Lei Yan and the others to the entrance. After giving them a steady look, she stepped in first. Lei Yan and the rest followed suit. Like that, 11 figures disappeared into the darkness. Almost immediately, she was hit with a wave of all-encompassing darkness. But soon, Yi Qingtang's line of sight recovered a little. At this point, she was immersed in gloomy darkness, her surroundings covered in a faint black fog. The air was bone-chillingly cold. Before she could fully observe her surroundings, Lei Yan and the others appeared behind her, and the nondescript little ball also appeared with them. Wen Qi and the other academy leaders were sitting in a large hall. Multiple floating screens were strewn across the hall in a rather haphazard manner. Each screen showed a team who had entered the Wailing Well such that the actions of every single team member were displayed for everyone to see. This is the team which the Netherworld Academy had been hiding from the rest of us. An elder from one of the academies turned to look at Wen Qi when he saw the image of Yi Qingtang's team enter the Wailing Well. Wen Qi maintained a poker face. I heard that a number of talented Netherworld Academy students didn't participate in the individual martial arts competition. Even Wu Fengling's disciple didn't participate. Vice President Wen, don't tell me this is your Netherworld Academy's trump card? So you have placed all your bets on winning this team competition? The person asked. Chapter 2394, Wailing Well, 3. The person's tone was casual but there was an undertone of sarcasm and his words attracted the attention of a few others. Staking everything on one bet or just one final desperate attempt to survive? The other academies did not really care. After all, they had personally witnessed Netherworld Academy's decline, and no longer treated them as worthy competition. Yin Kongluo's team has just entered the Wailing Well, someone pointed out as another screen appeared in the hall. Jin Qianyang had indeed just led Yin Kongluo and his team into the Wailing Well. But their surroundings looked different from where Yi Qingtang and her team arrived. There was only one portal entrance to the Wailing Well. But after entering, no one could predict where in the Wailing Well they would land. At this point, everyone's attention was focused on the elite teams from the Heaven Dome Academy and other top academies. Everyone was well aware that the winner would probably be one of those elite teams. The rest were just along for the ride. It was dark, cold and gloomy inside the Wailing Well. This kind of setting was the perfect environment for hidden dangers. Yi Qingtang led Lei Yan and the others further in, carefully analyzing her surroundings. Boss, are we going to hunt some demons now? Lei Yan rubbed his fists together, itching to fight. The others were likewise prepared for battle. But Yi Qing only replied, no hurry. What? They were stunned. Song Yanhan couldn't help shaking his head discreetly at Yi Qing's answer. They only had a limited amount of time inside. About 50 to 60 teams had entered the Wailing Well before them and those teams were probably already killing demons now. Meanwhile, Yi Qing was not at all anxious. How could they hope to win against the other teams in 10 days with this kind of laid-back attitude? Yi Qingtang didn't say anything else. Instead, she observed her surroundings. It was dark and murky but she could see quite several unfamiliar vegetation growing in the gloom. She didn't lead her team onward but turned to a patch of vegetation at the side. Bending down, she picked up a nondescript-looking plant. Lei Yan and the others couldn't understand what Yi Qing was doing. They just stood foolishly by the side. Taking a few steps forward, Yi Qing picked several more plants before turning around. Explore this area. If you see these plants, pick all of them and bring them back to me. Boss? You want us to pick plants? But, shouldn't we hunt for some demons first? Lei Yan was bewildered and his eyebrows furrowed. If you don't wish to die from blood loss during the battles, do as I say. Lei Yan was still puzzled, but Song Yanhan and Yun Chen immediately understood. Yi Qing was holding plants which were all herbs required to refine elixirs. To think that he was able to find these herbs in the darkness within such a short period of time. As they could not bring any elixirs with them, if they met with danger and incurred injuries, they would not have any medicine to help them. Boss, you want us to refine elixirs first? Yun Chen guessed at Yi Qing's plan. Yi Qingtang nodded. She had observed their surroundings and saw that it was relatively safe for now. When entering an unfamiliar place, the most important thing was to move in a calm and steady manner. These brats usually had plenty of elixirs in their space rings and so they didn't know how frightening it was to not have any during critical moments. During a crisis, a single elixir could mean the difference between life and death. Chapter 2395, Slow and Steady, 1. Now that they knew of Yi Qing's strategy to refine elixirs first, the teenagers all started moving. They soon collected quite a good amount of herbs from their surroundings and handed them over to Yi Qing. Without another word, Yi Qingtang sorted through the herbs and arranged them, before giving 2 portions to Yun Chen and Song Yanhan. Song Yanhan looked at the herbs. Do you know how to refine reversal elixirs? Yi Qingtang asked. Reversal elixirs were a type of healing medicine. They were not rare but were very effective. Song Yanhan nodded. Refine. Yi Qing's instructions were simple and straight to the point. With that, Song Yanhan resigned himself to the task. Seeing Yunchen refine the elixirs using his palm flame, he quietly carried his tripod to a corner, although the sight made him feel somewhat abashed. Yunchen and Song Yanhan were both top talents in the medicine faculty, and the reversal elixir was not complicated. As a result, they were able to produce them very quickly. Yi Qingtang didn't join in the refining. She continued to search for useful herbs in the surroundings, leading Lei Yan and the rest as they collected more plants. Half a day passed in the blink of an eye. Song Yanhan had been refining non-stop and his hands were stained in plant juices. By that point, he had worked so hard that he felt his head spin. And he was shocked to discover that half a day had passed. And they were still at the same spot. They had not advanced at all. Apart from foraging for useful herbs, Yi Qing didn't look like he intended to venture further into the Wailing Well. Song Yanhan couldn't understand this at all. But Song Yanhan thought that perhaps Teacher Yi was just a more cautious person. Perhaps he would only make a move after refining enough elixirs. It was dark and gloomy across the Wailing Well, and there was no sense of day or night inside here. Song Yanhan had no idea exactly how long he had been refining. The elixirs in his tripod were taken out and Yi Qing allocated a portion to everyone in the team. Only after all the nearby useful herbs were collected did Song Yanhan stop. He felt like his arms were going to break in two. He didn't have any other elixir refining tools, only his tripod. Even more tragic was that Song Yanhan realized his elixir refining speed was far slower than that of Yunchen's. Not to mention Yi Qing's. As much as Song Yanhan didn't want to admit it, he had personally witnessed Yi Qing produce 17 to 18 elixirs simultaneously with a single palm flame. The sight made him concede to the teacher's skills in full. Despite his skill and reputation, he still had to produce the elixirs one by one. "Boss, are we going to hunt some demons now?" Lei Yan finally asked in a timid voice. He had spent half a day digging for herbs. Yi Qing only replied, "You all wait here for me." Lei Yan and the others nodded obediently. Boss was finally going to make a move. Yi Qing soon disappeared. After a long time, she returned, bearing the faint smell of blood. The teenagers were excited. Indeed. Their boss went hunting for demons. But before they could ask Yi Qing about the demons, she tossed several strange-looking creatures at them. "Eat." There was silence. "Boss, didn't you go and hunt for demons?" Jing Zhe looked at those creatures which were about as big as rabbits. "No, I didn't. I went to hunt for food," Yi Qing replied. The team, Song Yanhan was dismayed. They had spent the first afternoon inside the Wailing Well refining a bunch of elixirs and hunting for food. Meanwhile, they had not gotten a single glimpse of any demons at all. Did this teacher Yi even want to win the competition? Chapter 2396, Slow and Steady, 2. Meanwhile in the big hall, Wen Qi and the others bore very strange expressions as they watched. The teams from the various academies had already advanced further into the Wailing Well and were engaged in intense battles. But there was a single screen that stood out from the rest. "Vice President, what is Yi Qing's team doing?" Luo Sheng looked at the screen showing Yi Qing and his team. What was shown made his face twitch. The other teams had all started exploring the Wailing Well and some teams had already encountered demons and were hunting with ferocity. Some teams encountered other teams and ended up in a scuffle. Meanwhile on Yi Qing's side, a bonfire was burning in that murky scene. One could see some vague shapes which looked like chickens roasting above the fire. Wen Qi was also befuddled. This was completely different from what he expected. Earlier on, Wen Qi didn't find it that astonishing that Yi Qing chose to refine elixirs first. He thought that the youth was just being prudent. But now, they were eating. Actually taking the time to sit and fill their bellies. Teachers from the other academies also noticed this unique scene. Quite a number of people glanced over, their faces filled with ridicule. The top Netherworld Academy students did not participate in the earlier martial arts competition, and the other academies guessed that they might be hiding their true power to stake it all in the team competition. But Wenqi, your students, they really know how to enjoy themselves. A teacher from another academy chuckled. This competition would directly affect the reputation of the academy. And to think that the Netherworld Academy team was in the mood to have a barbecue? What a complete farce. Even then Wenqi maintained his impassive expression. He believed that Yi Qing would not mess around. But for a moment there, even Wenqi had no idea what he was planning. Compared to how the other teams had already encountered demons and were fighting them, Yi Qing's team was gathered around a bonfire eating roasted meat. Wenqi's heart was constricted. And he was not the only one. Song Yanhan was also speechless. The next morning, Song Yanhan believed that Yi Qing would finally make a move. But the latter seemed to have no intention of hunting for demons. Instead, Yi Qing only led Lei Yan and the others to gather another round of herbs to refine elixirs. It was only after that they finally ventured deeper inside the Wailing Well. "Boss, look," Qin Feng called out in a low voice. He seemed to have discovered something. The others followed his line of sight. A massive cave was hidden in a nearby forest. Several lion-shaped demons were pacing near the outside of the cave. These lion-shaped demons were huge. Even the smallest of them was at least 3 meters tall. This was the first time that Lei Yan and the others had met a demon after entering the Wailing Well. They immediately went on high alert. Narrowing her eyes at the lion-shaped demons, Yi Qingtang instructed in a low voice, "Little Inger, try and use your puppet." Moments later, Yi Qingtang retrieved a human-shaped puppet from her space ring and handed it to Mu Ziying. The puppet was the size of an adult man. Placed in front of Mu Ziying, it made her look even smaller than usual. Song Yanhan was startled by the sight of the puppet. "Teacher Yi, I thought we are not allowed to bring special artifacts," Yi Qing replied, "This is Jing'er's weapon." Song Yanhan was taken aback, only then did the thought of puppet masters appear in his mind. Chapter 2397, Slow and Steady, 3. As Song Yanhan looked at the quiet Mu Ziying, he was surprised. He had never imagined that this withdrawn little girl was actually a puppet master. Mu Ziying had made use of her spare time in the Evil Soul Forest to create this puppet. The materials used were all from the Evil Soul Forest. Light as a feather, her fingers danced and the immobile puppet suddenly moved. As if suddenly filled with life, the puppet suddenly got up and snuck toward those demons outside the cave. Puppet masters were very rare. This was the first time Song Yanhan witnessed a puppet master controlling a puppet. And he discovered that Mu Ziying was not even using any strings at all. Nevertheless, that puppet moved very naturally. From afar, it looked just like any living human. Mu Ziying had the puppet approach the demons outside the cave. Those demons seemed to be oblivious to that lifeless puppet's presence. As the puppet approached one of the smaller demons, the demon suddenly attacked. It opened its jaws and countless hands shot out of its mouth. In the blink of an eye, Mu Ziying's puppet was shredded to bits. "Mu Ziying, let's go." Yi Qingtang commanded them to retreat the moment she saw what happened to the puppet. Song Yanhan, who had already prepared to do battle, was shocked. "Go." They were leaving just like that. After quietly putting more distance between them and that cave, Yi Qingtang finally spoke. "Jing'er's puppet has at least 70% of her powers. But it could not even withstand a single attack by the smallest demon. The puppet had been crafted with materials from the Evil Soul Forest. Yi Qingtang had specially tested that puppet before and knew that it could easily withstand attacks from someone who was a Divine Lord First Heaven level. It was clear that those demons were above that of a Divine Lord First Heaven level. Everyone in the team heard Yi Qing's explanation. There were at least 7 to 8 of those lion-shaped demons outside that cave, and Mu Ziying had chosen one of the smallest ones. Despite this, its battle prowess was already so formidable. If they had charged forward, they would have been torn to shreds within seconds. "Boss, what kind of demons were they?" Why did they have those things inside their mouths? Nangong Lai shuddered when he recalled those hands inside that demon's jaws. I don't know. Yi Qingtang shook her head. The team, who had been full of aggression and energy, all prepared to sweep the entire Wailing well clean of demons, was now muted after meeting their first demons. Just a random demon, and it was already beyond the Divine Lord stage. How were they going to hunt and kill any? Unless they could find some solitary demons. They had no hope at all when faced with a group of them. Just as they were feeling very depressed, sounds of fighting echoed from nearby. The sounds drew closer and closer. Lei Yan and the others turned to see a massive black figure charging straight toward them. A harsh light flashed. That massive figure was instantly destroyed. It was a demon which looked like a giant ape. But its fur was made up of millions of worms, which wriggled non-stop. Ugh! Lei Yan nearly puked at the sight of those worms. What kind of place was this? Who's there? A stern voice rang out. A familiar figure appeared before Yi Qingtang's team. Chapter 2398, Slow and Steady, 4, So it's you guys. The person commented when he saw Yi Qing's team. Yi Qingtang also saw who it was. It was Qiu Nan's teacher. Teacher, are you alright? Anxious voices rang out as a bunch of wretched-looking teenagers rushed over. Qiu Nan was amongst them. But he was in a rather pathetic state. His arms were covered in cuts and bruises, large patches of blood staining his sleeves. Some of his wounds were even turning black around the edges. Qiu Nan slowed down significantly when he saw Yi Qingtang's team in front. Their teacher had his students crack open the demon's skull and retrieve a demon crystal. Teacher Yi, I wonder how many demons have you killed? The teacher gazed coldly at Yi Qing with the demon crystal in hand. Compared to his team, Yi Qing and his students looked too clean. It was like they had not fought at all. None, Yi Qingtang replied in all honesty. The teacher gave a cold laugh. He glanced at Ran Mo, Qin Feng and the rest. Teacher Yi, let me give you a piece of advice. Even if you don't care about your own reputation, you need to consider the honor of the Netherworld Academy. Never mind that you were too afraid to participate in the earlier sparring matches, now you are still too cowardly to take any action. Do you know that everyone on the outside can see everything that we do in here? Go ahead and embarrass yourself if you want, but don't drag the name of the Netherworld Academy into the mud with you. It was well known that Yi Qing had two exceptional students, Ran Mo and Qin Feng, under him, but he didn't seem to have any intention of fighting. The teacher was very annoyed by that. That teacher looked at Ran Mo, Qin Feng and the rest. You kids will amount to nothing under a teacher like this. Qin Feng and the others remained impassive. Song Yanhan was the only one who lowered his head sheepishly, unable to hide the anxiety simmering inside. That teacher was not the only one. Song Yanhan also felt that Yi Qing was too cowardly. They had already spent a full day inside the Wailing Well but had not taken any action. It should be pointed out that their team was the strongest one from the Netherworld Academy. In the end, they didn't even have the courage to fight any demons. It was a massive loss of face to the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qing, I don't care that you lack courage, but you cannot be a burden to these kids. I don't like your cowardly antics, but for the sake of the Netherworld Academy, I can consider joining forces with you. But your students will have to follow my instructions. The teacher grew increasingly frustrated on seeing Yi Qing's attitude. If not for how powerful Ran Mo and the others were, he would not even bother wasting words on these cowards. The teams from the various schools were all scattered inside the Wailing Well, and it was not easy to meet another team from the same academy. If they had the good fortune to meet their other schoolmates, they would usually join forces and fight together, for the sake of winning. Teacher Yi, I think that this teacher's suggestion, Song Yanhan felt that this teacher was being very reasonable. But Yi Qing replied, no need to trouble yourself. We will fight our own battles. The teacher and Song Yanhan were taken aback by Yi Qing's words. The brusque dismissal made that teacher feel infuriated. But Yi Qing was the leader. Without his agreement, he could not force the latter's team to cooperate. Yi Qing, they will end up in a dismal state because of you. The teacher snorted before leading his own team away.